We have Beastyqt against Kasva. Let's jump into the action here. We will have Beastyqt in the blue trunks, and he is playing Mongols. Kasva on the other side in the red trunks, and he's playing Delhi. Tell me something beautiful about this Civ matchup.
Oh, I mean, the fact that it's not a Mongol mirror or whatever, because it's no bans, I'm a little bit surprised by, which makes me think that Kasva has something planned. And his setup here of getting, in fact, what is it here? It is 4 guys on wood. That's going to be most likely a fast barracks or something. Like, it's definitely going to be a little bit weird, but he went immediately for a lumber mill and a mill, getting those upgrades flowing. Whereas BC, he just planted his TC right next to some wood over here. So not the best layout for him, but he's also going to be fairly okay with this, I think, given that Izuvu's very close.
Yeah, and we already see the barracks here from Beastyqt as well. Now pulls his villagers away from that, and it just feels like those are the civilizations that have the highest win rate right now, and indeed, it will be a barracks counter here by Kasva, so he is somewhat scared of a potential tower rush by Mongols, but I've seen some nice defenses with Spearmen and maybe a Scholar out of the mosque.
Yeah, it definitely could be. I know Salami is a big fan, because when you build that mosque, you obviously get your first scholar for free, which helps a lot with the healing. Like, it helps a ton, actually. The map layout, definitely, like, the Mongol layout, not that good for him, because you would love your TC to be next to a gold, especially, as well as the wood. But the one for Kasva over here, the fact that he's got 2 golds at the back-ish, that's definitely not bad, but you see that spot between the gold and the wood line there. That would be a nice spot for BC to try and utilize.
Certainly, already sending the villager forward. Did add a scout, now trying to chase the scout away from Kasva, but I'm pretty sure he got an idea of that. First spearmen now coming out, and it's going to be interesting. Beastyqt, how many spearmen should he commit to? Where do you think? What's too much?
You mean for Beastie or for Kasva?
Yeah. Kind of for both. It always keeps me guessing. If I'm Delhi, I kind of don't want to underbuild, but I also don't want to overbuild.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same situation for both. I think mainly for the Mongol, if you are committing, you can pretty much utilize nearly all your stone to producing spearmen, but don't go over that. Like, worst case scenario, your opponent has to meet you in the middle somewhere, or at least like the same number of spearmen, which costs him more, given that you're literally spending half the amount, right? Like, if you have 8 spearmen and he has 6, it still costs you less technically because stone is free. So yeah, you try your best. I like the fact that Kasva's forcing the issue here, just slowing down the towers, taking a little bit of a fight as far away as possible. Because you might be thinking, he doesn't need to do this. But the thing is, every second that he does something like this, he's slowing down the approach by Beastie, which is very, very nice by him.
Lovely, lovely move indeed. And that first tower was actually more defensively than we normally see it. Sometimes we see like 6 spearmen out, and then you build the tower already next to the first wood line. But simply because Kasva went onto so much army, Beastie not really allowed to do that.
No, definitely not. And like, Kasva going for the double scout here, which I think is a bit unusual in this current meta. And BC's getting a few little pickoffs here. Did get a spearman, I do believe, and he has the greater number of spearmen, that Khan being annoying as well. And Kasva's continually producing. Neither one of them's gone for that gold yet, which is interesting, but that's just something that the Mongol strangling really enforces, and a scout does go down. So Beastie's definitely winning in this early game thus far.
More spearmen in the queue from both sides. Kasva still 3 spearmen in the queue. Now a big fight. Can is pulling that away. And feels like Kasva showing some good micro. Now I want to see the scholar being used.
Yeah, there's a few things by Kasva here that I think could be a little bit better. For example, this tower's most likely going to get up. Unless he can do something miraculous. But I think you see how he's got 8 workers on sheep right now? I think if he was utilizing these berries the whole time, just trying to get as many of them as he can until he's sent off them would be best. But he's going to run in here, and he is making Beastie sweat a little bit. But in Beastie's mind, he's like, oh, you're actually losing a lot of resources by running off the line here. And I wouldn't be surprised, Beastie back at home, is he getting ready for a switch? I dare say he'll start thinking about getting out of this pretty soon.
Yeah, transition relatively sweet. The thing is, though, Beastyqt, look at where is he getting food? That's not a lot of sheep that he has left. Is he forced to go onto deer? Those could be pretty exposed if he loses map control.
Yeah, I don't think he will though. Like that's one of the nice things about Mongol. Even though you can't build walls, you don't really ever have to worry about getting attacked unless it gets to a much later stage of the game. This by Kasva is super crazy, by the way. I don't think he needs to do this, and yeah, he realizes it too. Pulling those workers off the berries, like that tower is so far away that it's just kind of like an anchor point where Beasty can back to it if needs be. Now Kasva's actually working with the efficient production on this barracks and then healing when he's not producing. He's doing everything that Delhi can here with that scholar early on, so that's nice by him.
But still under so much pressure. Feels like he might be pushed away from those berries. Second tower could be pretty ugly. And yeah, if only had all those 12 villagers on sheep already on the berries, he wouldn't mind that much if he was pushed away from those berries, because then he could expand towards the east and get those other 2 berry patches.
Yeah, I think also like the fact that you do get berries so much more efficiently now, and those sheep are safe after he is pushed off this. Definitely a few little misplays by Kasva, but now the big engagement does happen. That Khan has to be a little bit scared there. There is a little guy poking him away, but all in all, Kasva does deflect the attack. Beasty behind all this, though, was getting the gold, as we talked about. His sheep situation, it's not looking too bad, actually. He did have a scout on the map, which he did use to bring back a few sheep, so nice move by him.
Oh, and we already see the deer stones at a solid 25% here, and Kasva still didn't mine any gold. He will be stuck in Dark Age for so long. Very unlikely that he will reach feudal. Maybe a 10-minute timing is on the cards.
Yeah, I've been super confused by Kasva's play the whole time, but it is difficult to get yourself out of this situation. And I mean, he's going about it in the way that he knows how, which is build a lot of stuff. But the thing is, Beasty's playing very patiently, which is what we know Beasty for, right? And he's using that backward anchor point, and Kasva's like, you know what? Frick it. I have to commit now. I have to commit. And any fight that happens here actually isn't that bad for Beasty. It's got to be said, because he is getting the tech going, and he has slowed down his opponent a lot.
Oh, yeah. And Kasva, it just feels like his mission number 1 is to not die in Dark Age and to not die to the tower rush. But that slows him down so much on the bigger picture. Now tries to go for a counter tower. Only 1 villager. Really low HP there for Beastyqt. On the left-hand side, Beastyqt now reaches fuel age. But it feels like the tower. Can he snipe the villager? Going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, he's got bigger problems here. Like, his berries are kind of under attack here. This tower that he rapidly put up, also now it's like, oh, well, this is going to be quite a lump of resources for BC. Granted, it's less in the new patch, but it's still something. And he's going to be forced off these berry patches whether he likes it or not. And overall, I think Beasty should probably get the... Yeah, he's getting the hardened spearmen now as well, so his spearmen are better than Kasva's spearmen by quite a bit. 2 extra damage and 10 extra health, and yeah, Arrow Slits is online now, so these towers have further range, and it just gets a lot more scary for Kasva.
Yeah, and that can suddenly from 2 damage output to 4 damage output against all those spearmen just makes it so incredibly annoying. Trying to wall off a bit, Kasva will get to fuel age, not the greatest wood control. How do you play after this in fuel age? Archer range to defend against the spearmen, but then your the castle age timing won't be pretty.
I mean, Kasva's put himself in a bad spot, like in every way, shape, and form. Like, even just then, had a house exposed there, you can't be like. And he's got quite a few buildings that are fairly exposed, but if you can make a house, you don't make it at an exposed spot, right? Which is what he had just then. I do like this little kind of makeshift wall he's done here. It kind of helps his wood line a little bit, and he's really gunning for tier 2 or age 2 even, but. Yeah, BC's just going to kind of use this wall against him. And this is where Kasva's really feeling the pressure here, because nothing's gone his way. If you look at his food income as well, even though he's got... In fact, what has he got? He's got berries in the back. Those sheep. He had a ton of sheep, and they're all gone now.
Wood income might get a bit better once we have the first drop-off there. Berry bush only now being taken, but another raid. Villagers have to be pulled. Ugly again, and even Kasva, you see with all this macro... couldn't even focus on setting up all his upgrades yet.
Yeah, definitely. It's he's under a lot of pressure. Like, does he have sanctity? Oh, he actually continued finishing the healing on the scholars instead of getting the sanctity, which maybe that's part of his play here to try and bust out of this. Is going for two very fast archery ranges right now, technically not mining or gathering any food. And does he even know about that back berry bush? He doesn't. So he only knows about that forward one that is currently under siege here from Beastie.
Tricky moves. Behind the scenes, Beastyqt's resources looking really hot to go to Castle Age pretty soon. And as you mentioned, completely uncontested, simply because he has all the aggression with Mongols here. Step Reduct, very likely to come. And then Castle Age, what's the choice? Lancers? Men-at-Arms?
For Beastie, I mean, I think Men-at-Arms would be the play, just because already this spear count is quite decent for Kasva. But also, there's no rush for Beastie, right? Like, he could potentially play a lot of wood and go for some siege along with archers, but I think Men-at-Arms is the play, honestly. And we think about this Khan as well that's actually in the back of the base being a nuisance. That's just going to turn into a super Khan very soon. And yeah, Kasva, I don't think he has any clue what to do from here, and me neither.
Tricky situation for sure. And honestly, Delhi losing a game, not a great start for a best of 7. Like 1-0 down is one story, but Delhi considered to be arguably top 2, top 3 civilization right now. So feels like 2 losses in one game.
Yeah, I mean, if I do, so you asked me earlier what I think about these players and their stars and stuff. Kasva is a player that plays a little unorthodox in general. And if I think about his strongest civs, I can't remember ever playing as Delhi, actually, which is interesting. Like, he's very good with Abbasid. Like, he was utilizing camels a lot earlier than a lot of other players and being very aggressive with it. But Delhi, maybe he was just like, you know what, I'll get... I know he's going to pick Mongol, so I'll get that out of the way. Maybe give it a little go. He went for something a little bit unorthodox again, I feel, trying to stop this tower rush, but yeah, sometimes these things happen, and we're going to have a look at BC's base now. So he is going for those barracks, so he was kind of on the same thought pattern as us. He's going to most likely get some ranged armor, going for the improved siege engineering here, so he will be going for that wood, a lot of it as well, along with just a lot of men-at-arms, so it's going to be very, very difficult for Kasva to battle back.
Yeah, and now at minute 13, kind of the first time ever that Kasva can think, okay, I'm going to attack. But what I don't like is Beastyqt really late with the tower on his gold. Could be 1-2 dead villagers.
It could be. Deer Stones are pretty damn good, though, for just making sure these guys are a bit quick. And Beastie's actually just still going for the build on that, so we'll lose a few villagers and a few units in general. And hey, this is definitely a bright start for Kasva being like, hey, I got some damage done. What now? What now? Back at home, his home, I mean, that Khan is dealing damage, which that is annoying because, again, Kasva's down to very little food income again. Although he does have that first berry bush that he went for back up online, and he's losing his whole army to these men-at-arms.
Oh yeah, pretty ugly there. Had to deal with the Khan in the back. Tower didn't even do enough damage. Still, long production. Feels like Kasva is committing to the feudal age all in, but Men-at-Arms, basically the designed unit to stop that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like, this is one of the things you always have to worry about with Kasva, because you look at his base and it's like, all right, how many production facilities does he have? He has 2 archery ranges and a barracks, but they all have a scholar in. So it's basically 4 archery ranges and 2 barracks in production with 2 blacksmith as well. Like, he's really gunning for it now. So he could potentially catch Beastie off guard if Beastie's too greedy. And that mosque from him, or the prayer tent even, this does make me go, Beastie, is this necessary right now? Like, do you need more gold? You've got 10 guys with a step redoubt. It's not entirely necessary, you know? So this is kind of where Kasva can catch players like BC off guard.
Yeah, but that's what we have seen from Beastie so often, right? He starts to think about the late game so incredibly early. He just sets himself up nicely, gets the relic, gets map control, walls of areas if he wasn't Mongols, and it just feels like every single time you go to him, he has some form of an advantage that you didn't even think of.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets away with it, it pays off. If he doesn't, you're dead. So it's one of those situations, because he is getting to scout everything with the Khan, but yeah, Kasva's supply, like if you actually look only at the supply right now, Kasva has no intention of aging up by the looks of it. Like 0 guys on gold, and he's just powering to the max. If he had all these idle villagers, which whereabouts are they actually? Oh, they were all in his town center. If he had them just gathering wood and better wood, like that is such a far way for his lumber mill to go. He could be doing rams and everything on the other side of the map, and Beastie would be in a lot of trouble.
Ah, Man-at-Arms, such a good unit against potential feudal all-ins though, and it feels, especially with the first armor already in, those won't find too much. And just feels like the Khan is doing so much raiding. Kasva even went for textiles, but I still witnessed like 3-4 villager pickoffs at least.
Yeah, at least. Problematic. Kasva does get away with some villagers at the bottom here with the deer, which is nice for him. But yeah, the fact that Beastie's getting, or in fact, he's actually able to deny some of these sacred sites from Kasva, but Kasva's really stretching here. So looking at his current resources, he's trying to get some gold with these scholars and these sacred sites, but Beastie's reacting fairly decently and quickly here.
He's barely seeing, like at least the Khan saw it. Maybe he didn't really see it with his own eyes. That we are on deer there at the bottom, some low HP ones. And now the Beastie trademark. The moving prayer tent, trying to get through all the relics. Sick move. I personally believe that's too strong in the game.
Moving the mosque?
Yeah, the prayer tent there. And getting all the relics. It just feels way too good. No, one shaman and 2 minutes of micro and you suddenly have 5 relics? That doesn't sound fair.
So there is a downside to it. While it's moving, you aren't getting the gold from it, which is a pretty big downside, because having 1 or 2 relics in it, or 0, then that's fine. But once you start getting like 3 or 4, and then you're moving to the 5th, let's say, or the 4th, then yeah, it's not as advantageous. But BC's doing a very good job here, because this whole game, Kasva's been like 20-30 supply ahead. But against Mongols, that's kind of, you know, it's normal. Whereas now, this army, I don't think... Kasva has nothing to deal with this whatsoever. And oh my goodness, he's not looking.
Oh, big shots there. And yeah, you're talking about like pure numbers, but it feels like the army value is just so much higher for our Mongol player here. And those men-at-arms just wreck everything. Obviously now with 2 mangonels, moves his deer stones forward as well. Kasva should be running out of options pretty soon.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I'll be honest, Nilly, I felt like I've been doing the Kasva thing where it's like, oh yeah, he's still in it. But right from his response to everything at the start, I was like, he's gonna have a real rough time, man, because this is not it. This is not it. Like, you have to try and utilize every advantage that you have, and yeah, just a few things. A bit of resource mismanagement, I think, really did him in. Because you were totally right. He was trying to really stop that tower rush, but he wasn't thinking about the next stage of the game, which you absolutely have to do in Age of Empires 4.
When did you go full caster mode? For me, it started like minute 4 when I saw like 10 spearmen and he still wasn't on gold, and it felt like he would never get feudal age.
So I went full caster mode as soon as I saw Mongol was in the loading screen. Actually, I was like, oh, there's absolutely a chance, man. There's absolutely a chance. And it's like, no freaking way is there. I mean, like, I'll be honest, like, Mongol with some of the nerfs that's had recently, it definitely is possible to beat them. Actually, when I say that, I went caster mode again, man. It's not point. No, I think Beastie played this quite well, whereas Kasva, yeah, just this was definitely a rough matchup for him.
Yeah, but remember, he will have Mongols later on, while Beastyqt will never be able to reuse Mongols for himself. And so maybe Equalizer there upon us at one point. It feels like some fewer spearmen and more healing could have been an option there. I think play a bit more defensively. He just tried to prevent so many towers over and over again, pulled the villagers, and it felt like it hurt his economy quite a bit.
Yeah, like if I think about what could have been better. By the way, is this like, oh, look at that keep. You guys have a word for this, right? Okay, he stopped making it, did Kasva, but he was trying to plant down a very aggressive keep there at Beastie's face. But now these villagers, that's a lot of lost resource time.
Yeah, and he thinks better of it now, and we will see a 1-0 lead here for Beastyqt. Pretty strong performance with the Mongols.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Beastie played good. Beastie played quite clean. I at first questioned him going for the berry bush as opposed to like the gold in behind that wood line, but I like this worked out in its own way. So that is very, very nice, actually. Because it looked like Kasva didn't really. He felt a bit lost to me, is how I'd describe it. Like if it's me and I'm like, all right, I need as much food and wood as possible. You can bet your ass I've got all my guys on berries. I'm doing the wood thing properly, that kind of thing. Whereas he was like, oh, I'm gonna go for a bit of sheep here, a little bit of wood, maybe a few berries. I'll keep diving with my villagers to deny stuff. But it's like, what's the plan here, Castle? What's the plan? And if I asked him, I think he'd be like, I just don't want to die. But you have to think about how you're going to live, you know? You have to think about how you're going to live, not how not to die.
Ah, yeah, I like that. I like that quite a bit. KD in the end, obviously, way better for Beastyqt as well. The economy, simply because it was uninterrupted, better on wood, stone, and gold. Stone, obviously, generated naturally. Food, the only advantage for Kasva, but couldn't really do too much. His unit simply too weak. A solid more than 5-minute difference there in the castle age timing, and just felt like the men at arms, even although they only had 1 armor upgrade, strong enough against the feudal army.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Casper didn't have the range upgrade on his archers either. So, I mean, 1 armor, even if you have the range upgrade, it's still deducing that damage to 1 per hit with those archers and what have you. Definitely a weird pick, though. Like, if I'm looking at the maps here, so getting rid of your Delhi when there's Danube River and Mongolian Heights available, that is definitely weird. But yeah, interesting. I think that's one of the most funny things to me when it comes to drafts and picks. Like, you can play against some of the best players in this game. Like, I will never forget me against Marine Lord and this daft prat. He let me get Mongol against his French on like Lipany or something, and it was like, Marine Lord, you just lost the game. Like, you just lost, you know? And then he picks China on HRE despite being like one of the best. And it's like, what are you playing at, mate? So I really do think draft picks in general are something that players will and continue to get a lot better at as time goes by.
Yeah, I think so as well. It took a long time in Age of Empires 2 as well. Obviously, we have way more civilizations there. While I think there was some form of a bug or something, because people jumped into a game, but the game is not continuing. So not really sure what happened. Maybe the admin can inform us on that?
What'd you say, sorry? It sounds like they've...
They jumped into a game and now went back. Maybe they didn't get a seed on the map or something?
For me, it just has Beastie as browsing a custom.
So what's happening here? I can show that to the viewers at home. Basically, for those maps, we give them seeds. So basically, an admin is looking at the map beforehand and then deciding, okay, this one is a fair seed, and you play on this map. Obviously, no excess on that for the players. But this time, Beastyqt looked at the map, and apparently there was no real fish generation in front of his base. So a slight oversight by the admin. He prepared a lot of maps though, and yeah, now the admin is informing me, so you can do the entertainer thing, and I will talk a bit with the admin behind the scenes.
When you say he had no fish in front of his base, you mean like literally zero? Or
Danube River. I don't like. I didn't see a lot there.
it's so as far as I'm aware, there's kind of like 2 different spawns that you can have on Danube River. You can have one more to the edge of the map. Like, let's say if you spawn at the bottom, more to the right side, and then you'll have fish in front of you. If you spawn over to the left, which is kind of, like, you have more versatility about how you can maneuver around the map. You won't have fish directly in front of your base. It'll be like more down the river, but that's because you also spawn slightly closer to the river, which is kind of the trade-off. So depending on how that was, it's fairly normal. Unless I've just been dealt a bad hand every time, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, admin decision is that they agreed that the generation wasn't as fair as they were hoping for, and they're getting a new seed. So simply, we will go into the Nubi River with an HRE mirror, actually, and hopefully with a better spawn that everyone gets fish.
I was just about to say, what were the Civ picks? Because, yeah, Danube River with Mongol being picked up. What is Kasva saving Mongol for? That is my question here.
Maybe
Mongolian
Lipany,
height?
High View?
Uh, yeah, definitely an interesting one. Like, granted. Delhi has been good on the river maps, specifically because it was so good against Mongol. And I mean that because you didn't just immediately lose your dock. But Delhi itself isn't the best against the other civs, which is kind of weird in a way because we all felt that Delhi was so good on the water. But it's just because it was the only civ that performed good against Mongol. But when you actually see how it collides with the other civs on the water, it gets a bit spicy. But yeah, I think Kasva is going to be saving his Mongol for Mongolian heights, and when it comes down to the drafting, that's at least something that EC can have in his mind that he's like, aha. So when it comes to that map, I'll pick Delhi. So I think that's probably what we're going to see from both these players. But yeah, it's going to be interesting how this goes.
Big question mark for me is also where Beasty is going to play English. We just saw 2 practice game of his where he played English on Hill and Dale. Hill and Dale not in the map pool though. So it feels like Mongolian Heights. Typically a strong map for them, simply to use the range from all those longbows. King of the Hill, also a nice map for them if you just want to go for the one-dimensional push through the center.
You're talking about those 2 games against me, right?
Yeah.
So you're watching both of them?
I saw both of them. I was in and out preparing stuff. Maybe it was just to get his fingers warm.
I think he was trying. Like, English is one of those civs where it's like if you make a mistake, you've kind of just lost the game. Just because you have one army and your army's super slow. Like, Lombos are the slowest kind of archer, but I think he'd be saving English for either King of the Hill or Lipany.
Okay.
I say that mainly because King of the Hill, very awkward with wood. If you are a pushing civ, that small wood line that you have that's like just a little circle, very easy to get vision on the other side with your archers on the defensive side of it. So it's very easy to deny wood. And Lipany in general is also a map where I feel like the second wood line's a little bit further away, and then it gives you a very easy choice of what to go for. The maps that I wouldn't recommend it are like Boulder Bay, Mongolian Heights. If you have to play against Mongol, then that's really rough. Highview as well, really good for Roos because there's so many wolves, and Roos was never a bad. Like, Roos never lined up that badly against English in the first place because they have the H2 Knights, so you have to respect those. The fast H3 for the men at arms as well is also really nice against English.
Is it a given that we will see a Roos mirror on Boulder Bay? Or is there a meta development that no one told me about yet?
Like, Roos is definitely good on it. It's definitely good on it. One of the reasons that Roos is good on it is because they're good against French with the Hulk situation. But it's not a guarantee. In my eyes, I think Boulder Bay is still very good for things like China. But I know a lot of people are sleeping on China at the moment. Abbasid also got quite a bit better against a lot of things. I don't know. I think the game's within the patch. It has made me have to relearn the game entirely all over again.
Wow. Okay.
Just because matchups are no longer like, okay, I'll go for 2 scouts, right? And then it's like, you just have a little bit of a dance off. Now it's completely back to the drawing board within regards to what these Civ's strengths are truly. And things like the Abbasid getting a stronger H2 boat is really big. China with their siege situation. I mean, the whole siege nerf situation, I still think China's very good. And it actually means if you get like Bao Chan's going, they're even better. Although the spring odd change to bow chads also is pretty damn good. Yeah, the whole thing. It's like I no longer definitely know what's best in every situation.
If I listen to you, it feels like you have already unlearned more about AoE 4 than I've ever learned.
Unlearn, did you say?
Yeah, unlearned. Like, try to forget and try to rethink stuff.
It's really like it's so fun to me. Like I loved this about the start of StarCraft 2. It was probably similar for you AoE 2 guys when there's like so much info and it's all so fun that you're just absorbing it like a sponge. And it comes so naturally. I mean, like if you're a competitive guy and you dive into a field where there's 8 civs and it's like, okay, that's 64 matchups. How do they all collide? Where are their power spikes? What do they want to achieve and stuff? It's yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying every moment. But yeah, HRE mirror on Danube. So immediately I'm looking at your screen right now just because I'm not in it quite yet, but it is zooming ahead to catch up live. So the spawn that Beastie has, normally that's the one where you don't have quite as many fish in front of you, being further down the river. But he's actually spawned a bit further away from the river than you can do. Maybe Kasva's the one with less fish in front of him now. Okay, I'm finally in the game.
Okay, yeah, and this is the same generation that you basically talked about. Now, this time Kasva basically has no shorefish at the front, but I've had that in the ladder as well, so I'm not sure if that is like an intentional generation or if that's kind of a bug that simply happens multiple times.
I think it's just when like if you look at the bases, Beastie's definitely spawned a little bit further away. So I think in the map way, it's like, okay, fish can't spawn within this radius to your base, whereas Casper's a little bit closer to that river line. So I think this is how it's worked out for me in the past. But I look at other stuff as well. Relic situation, pretty damn close. You got 3 down the middle line between them. They both kind of got a relic on either side for them as well. And so far, we do have Kasva that... In fact, okay, he's going for a dock on the far right side. So that's a nice little safety pouch over there of fish.
Yeah, actually, like the best dock you could build at his end if you wanted to have a villager still working on some shorefish. Plus, I also like this as the opening if you want to play the more defensive approach. You see the sneaky dock of the opponent a bit earlier, plus longer distance, in case your opponent is trying to make something funky happen.
Casper is going to be able to get a scout or a villager here, by the way, which is cool. Although, this ain't the old days, is it? Yoink. And a scout for a villager. You know, I actually like this trade for Beastie, but if I just think about it, like straight up, so that was an extra scout that Beastie made, and he lost a villager. If you just equate that to, okay, how do they both stand? It is technically like he should be a villager behind. Oh wait, Kasva did go for another scout.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that's a lot of sheep.
Yeah, yeah. People shouldn't really look at that one too long, otherwise they might fall asleep here. And it just feels like if you only have one scout, you kind of want to keep the scout alive and don't go for the villager kill. But with an extra scout, I like the position of Kasva here.
Yeah, me too, actually. Me too. HRE mirror does get a little bit spicy because certain things can come into play a lot, such as, do you have a wood line near your gold line or gold mine? And you can see here, Kasva. In HRE mirror, you don't have to really worry about being attacked too much. So I wish that Kasva, in this situation, put that lumber mill camp over to that left site, that left bit of wood, because then you'd have had gold, a deer pack, and the wood with an Archon Chapel. Going to be a little bit trickier for him to plant something here, but yeah, we'll see. Whereas Beastie, on the other hand, he's only got his gold alone with no wood near it. So fortune definitely on Kasva's side here, despite the maybe slightly bad fish opening.
Yep. And are we interested? Maybe some changes there on the Aachen Chapel. Maybe some ideas there with the prelates having a bigger radius. Maybe you don't need to go for Aachen Chapel every single time in the future. I think people aren't experimenting enough with Meinberg Palace yet. But obviously on this map where you're not going for a lot of upgrades early on, most of the time go for like one kind of unit, I can absolutely see why Aachen Chapel is by far the best option in the opening.
Yeah, it's also been things like how much do you actually benefit from the Mind Walk? I mean, granted, the prelate buffs will change how things go, and I think in certain matchups, like you could play against English, and getting +1 armor can help a lot, or getting the earlier infantry. But for a long time, this matchup's been a lot about knights. So getting to H3 quite quickly, getting the relics and what have you, and then it's like Knight Wars for a bit. In which case, you don't need any upgrades on those whatsoever, because getting 1 extra damage when you do already like 20 odd per hit, or getting 1 armor when you're against knights when they're already doing, you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter too much. So yeah, the blacksmith. We'll see how things do continue to develop.
I would love to see if the Mindwork Palace was like working faster, or maybe even an even bigger approach than. Actually, look at that. If you build the mill reasonably to the right here for Kasva, maybe push the deer a bit, I think the Aachen Chapel can actually include all resources.
Yeah, I think it can as well. So definitely not too bad for him. It is very much advantageous for him to not have, or to have the gold in it as well. By the way, already he's not getting any extra gold. I think he's going to do something a bit wild here. And it's... He's the kind of player that could easily just say, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go 2 stables. And it's just like, why? And then it's like, oh, look how much food he's getting here. Like, I have no idea what this is necessarily going to be for. Or, okay, now he's going on to gold again with a lot of food. Just weird management by Kasva, isn't it?
Also 6 on the chapel. Quite a late timing. He added a second scout again. And now he had a villager to the front, but pulled him back. Indecisiveness here.
Yeah, like he's... I heard Beasty on his stream one time when he played against Kasva. He did lose this game. And he was like...
I heard you smiling. I heard you smiling.
Of course, because what I'm about to say makes so much sense when you see something like this. He was like, man, so hard playing against Kasva, because how can I know what he's going to do when he doesn't know what he's going to do? And I was like, actually, yeah, that is kind of true to some degree. So yeah, all these villagers now. Look, he's... Okay, Kasva's absolutely gunning. Oh my god, 17 guys on gold? Wow.
I actually believe, and I'm saying it every single time I'm casting an HRE game, that people are not going for enough heavy switches. I think this is actually the future. Having like 15 on food, then 15 on wood, then 15 on gold. And constantly with a prelate. I think it looks weird, and normally with every other shift, it wouldn't work because you have way too much walking time. But with the inspiration here of the prelate, I think that actually makes sense.
You don't get me wrong. I think heavy switches aren't so bad, but this also allows Beasty, like he just came and scouted that with his scout, so he knows immediately what the plan is for his opponent. Whereas Kasva coming and scouting is like, oh, you've got the normal amount on gold, and I mean this probably will line up better for Beasty in the sense that he's going to have extra wood here. But yeah, we do see a very, very fast age 3 for Kasva. But Beasty isn't exactly far behind. He's just got a better wood situation going as well.
Yeah, so true. Look at that. So we have already prelates next to the relics, the spawn, as you mentioned before. Pretty damn fair. 1 on each side and kind of 3 in the center. Slightly better for Beastyqt. But look at that. The awareness of Beastyqt is so nice. 2 scouts already hunting down those prelates.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little surprised that neither one of them went for... Well, I'm a bit surprised that Beasty didn't try and speed boost a stable a bit earlier. Because if I saw Kasva going for that heavy a gold mining, I'd have been like, you know what? You can bet your ass that I'm going to be getting some horsemen out very quickly, because I'm going to have the advantage on map control. But yeah, right now, Kasva, he's struggling a little bit to keep these prelates alive. One does die in the middle here to the dogs, which is nice for him. The second one will be running away, and he's got a scout and a prelate on his ass. So let's see if it pays off, his big gamble here.
what people aren't really doing yet, which really surprised me. Kasva knew his strategy. He knew his approach, basically from the get-go when he jumped into the game. Why did he not kill the wolves in the center?
I don't think he thought about it. I genuinely don't. And we now have a situation where he is going to return 2 relics. His second one incoming over here. He's got... Oh, no. Okay, Beastie was about to snatch that one right from in front of him. But Beastie is going to end up with 2 relics against the 3 of Kasva. So you can definitely say that gamble paid off. But again, Kasva's just a little bit slow to switching. Because he has no wood for a stable here at all. He only just had enough wood for this mill that he's power built here, which, yeah, way too much gold. Won't be able to use it. It's and yet nobody's still on wood here, so he's definitely like this kind of mismanagement from him is definitely going to bite him in the butt a little bit. And if Beastie's quick to react, he could have knights over the map, and there's nothing that Kasva can do about it right now.
Sometimes when I'm playing HRE, it feels like my strongest building is not actually the Regnitz Cathedral, but my market. Because you're floating so much gold, because of the Regnitz Cathedral, that like juggling resources makes your life so much easier. He could be up to Imperial Age pretty soon, if only at a market.
Yeah. I mean, like, he really could be. He has to start thinking about the attack, though, that's inevitably going to come from Beastie. Like, I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit surprised, because say if Hero was in this game, he's very good about this. One of his first things is, oh, as soon as I can build a knight, we're going with a knight straight across the map. So I think both the build orders lined up kind of funny. And I think Kasva's just going in for Imperial, man. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Which, absolutely bonkers. Because, yeah, if he was against Hera, you bet... There'd be a few knights in his base already, and he'd be in so much trouble.
Yeah, I think like Kasva could have easily been a guy who plays double stable horsemen and just harass you all game, right? We had the walls only finishing at minute 11, so quite a greedy play by Kasva. Not really punished yet, and he walls up. Could have a crazy economy. And Beastyqt, he needs to find an opening, otherwise his knights, a big investment that won't pay off.
This is where I feel Beastie has been not shameless enough. Like, if he was a, I don't want to say a worse player, if he was a far more impatient player and was just like, I'm going to go, he's just assuming that Kasva's going for the same thing he's going for. And he's like, all right, I have to be careful with my knights, because if I attack you, then you're going to have more knights than me, right? But we see now, and Beastie's probably like, what the crap? Like, you've already got Imperial. What did you do? And yeah, now Beastie's going to be like, oh gosh, what's happened here? So, in terms of how these builds have lined up, definitely working out a lot better for Kasva. But I feel that he just kind of said to himself, yeah, I'm going to go for this. If I die doing it, then so be it. But if I live, if my opponent just respects me enough, then yeah, I'm going to be in good shape. And fortunately for him, yeah, Beastie's now got these knights on the map that achieve nothing.
Yeah. Tricky. Although eventually knights will break through, he is maybe continuing to build. Let's take a look at his queue. Not really. So now only fishing ships, nothing else in the queue from him. Villages still have to be pulled. Quite some investment, but obviously Kasva has to be loving life.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, if you're Beastie, I've heard him complain about map generation and stuff. He could definitely be attributing this one to the fact that his Arkan Chapel was not next to his gold mines and stuff. But yeah, Kasva was just way more shameless about how he went to age 3. And yeah, I've just been looking at his resources and stuff, and the whole thing. It's been cool to see, because soon he can start doing this thing where you literally make nothing but spearmen, and you get the special armor upgrade, which he's doing. You get elite spearmen. Soon he'll probably get his university up and running too. There was a patch a few patches ago where it buffed that upgrade for the infantry, so they're so much better. So Beastie's just about to hit age 4 now, which is good for him. But there's going to be a lot of spearmen out that are going to be very nicely upgraded, and he needs to do damage with these knights, because they're on a clock, basically, for how useful they can be.
But they might get in there. Not enough repairs. Villagers bugging out a bit behind the wall there. Not all of them really repairing. Knights will get in, and that should be some dead wills.
Definitely should be. Again, I'm a little bit surprised by what Kasva's building, because here he's going for a blacksmith. And he's running to fight this with just a... In fact, yeah, I think Kasva has totally not respected this enough. And just kind of trickling in a few spearmen at a time, which is not what you want to be doing. Now he's got a cluster of them. This is better. This is better. But yeah, this has already done a bit more than it should have.
Yeah. For now, like 2 villager losses, 2 prelate losses. Spearman now chasing, but obviously Kasva is not really getting the map control. 79 villagers for Kasva, 73 for Beasty. So he's not far behind in that regard, although he was later to him, like 3 minutes?
Yeah, it was definitely a much later one. And it does look like Beasty is super committing to the knights as well. I mean, he does have quite a few stables. So he's getting that elite knight upgrade over here. Excuse me. But the big thing here is the economy of Kasva is kind of in shambles. It's having to run around so much. And he doesn't need to run around so much. Like, if these spearmen are just placed at the spots where you're gathering resources, then these knights achieve nothing. But he's busy chasing. He's leaving... Like, just a few spears here and there can be absolutely shutting this down. But, yeah, definitely a little bit of panic. But I still think Kasva, all things said and done, is going to find himself in really good shape this game.
Really? I actually feel like Beastyqt is doing so much great stuff. He got double Sacred Side as well. So, okay in the sense how he's trying to work with the relic deficit. Woodline is getting really efficient or inefficient for Kasva. Map control non-existent. And Spearman, good against Elite Knights. But the moment Beastyqt makes a tech switch, Kasva's army will be completely worthless.
Yes and no. Like, the one unit that Beasty absolutely needs is Land Snakes. Or, how do you say it? Landsknechts.
Yeah, so we will work with that.
So he absolutely needs those Landsknechts. I'm going to call them Land Snakes from now on. But yeah, he absolutely needs them. And you can see in BC's base now, he's super going for a tech switch. The thing is, he also needs to get like a demo ship out or something. And he can't do that because Kasva actually has a freaking Karak already on Beasty's side of the sea here, which is quite interesting. And all these spearmen, even though... Wait, they're only veteran. He's missed out the upgrade there. And he hasn't yet got the university upgrade either. So these aren't the strongest spearmen you can have by quite some margin. Let's see what Beasty's going to have ready for this, because, yeah, he absolutely needs some men-at-arms and some land snakes out immediately.
But where is he producing? He has one defensive siege workshop. Has now 4 barracks at home. Still only Castle Age Men-at-Arms now goes for elite. Will take some time, but honestly, like, spearmen alone, maybe put some pressure on the cathedral. But I think like 10 elite men-at-arms should be able to deal with like 44 Castle Age spearmen.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Like, if these were fully upgraded, though, remember, they've got that 4 armor buff because they're HRE spearmen. I'm still looking. I'm still looking at all the barracks from Kasva. Like, none of them have the elite upgrades. He went for the double blacksmith as opposed to the university as well. This can sometimes come down to the inexperience of players on certain civs. Knowing like what's good and what's not, but these are some big buildings that he's taken down, and the torch damage obviously crazy from these units, and Beasty's struggling to amass an army here, and just a few land snakes would help so much with this.
Yeah, they do the splash damage, especially against like low HP, big number of units. The land snakes are so efficient, more raids coming in. Still quite some disrupted economy, and well, the wood line not looking too pretty. Maybe reseating lumber camp could work there. 110 villagers for Kasva, 114 for Beastyqt. Just feels like he's defending this and still has a reasonable economy, at least in numbers. But Relic still lost.
Yeah, absolutely. That lack of gold income there. This Karak, by the way, that whole dock and fishing is exposed. But Kasva, I wish I could see his point of view right now. Like, if he gets over there, that's it. That's like all that dock production gone and useless. Beasty's army is going to end up better than Kasva's here. Purely because he's gone for the men-at-arms. And yeah, as you can see, these veteran spearmen not doing what they're meant to be doing. In fact, does Beasty have a university? I'm a big university player. Me, Nilly, you'll notice that.
Double barracks for Kasva, and on the other side we have one barracks only, no university on the field.
Okay, but it is elite men-at-arms now for Beastie. And Beastie's... Oh, that's a lot of villagers. And those are land snakes. Oi! Bigots, bigots.
Correct. At retreating.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's
Look at the
absolutely
gold
brutal.
income. 400 to 1.8k. That's just crazy. And those elite land snakes, it's really tough to address those. You kind of either have to get like 3-4 mangonels out, or you need to switch in something like crossbow hand cannoneer.
Yeah, like I tend to find that going for my own land snakes is always a good play. I'm just going for the upgrades. But again, I'm not sure how much both of these guys play these civs. You see that Beastie's getting quite a bit of siege here, which definitely has taken a bit of a hit, bit of a nerf. But yeah, if Kasva can get all his upgrades online here, which his economy is better, and it has been for a little bit of time, 130 workers to 98 here, and he has had the 3 relics running, then he's going to be in phenomenal shape.
Okay, now goes for an aggressive keep here. At least lots of villagers moving forward, trying to make something funky happen. And that will actually be keep v keep. Now whoever gets some more siege out could be in a really good position, in a really important position of the map.
So the men-at-arms from Kasva that he has made a few of, still no elite upgrade for them. Now he's finally going for that university. If this university was done like 5 minutes ago, he'd have won the game with that push. And look at this, by the way. Battle of the Keeps over here.
But one keep denied for now. But now mangonels could be really good against the villagers. Won't really shoot. Just feared already with one bombard out. Beastie should be able to hold this one. Now we have 160 population going for boiling oil. Seems like a really open game still. 150 population for Beastie. And honestly, I've seen some Beastie streams. The longer the game goes, the more I felt he was in his comfort zone.
Oh, I mean, Beastie, he thrives on his opponent just kind of getting impatient and making the wrong move. By the way, how do I make the game speed up a tiny bit?
I know what happened. I wanted to tell you after the stream, but or after the game. If you aren't in the game when the spec delay is still running, you're always 10 seconds behind. And there's no way to speed up. You simply have to join within the 5 minutes.
Lame.
Yeah. Devs are aware.
Okay. Alrighty. I mean, okay, these culverin, by the way, nice move by Beastie. Or rather by Kasva. This is what I talked about, by the way, with the Chinese thing. Given that siege has slowed down a lot, the fact that when you get a 12 range siege out, it is so much more powerful now. So like every other siege unit being nerfed has actually buffed things like culverin and sort of late game bombards from China, which is why he was able to snipe off 3 really big siege weapons there.
Speaking of some snipes, look at the economy of Kasva here. Really ugly. Some Elite Knights got in, some Landsknecht as well. And all of a sudden we have 104 villagers, 34 of them idle, and no real food income right now. Really nice raid by Beastyqt.
Super nice. And yeah, he's actually got the elite men-at-arms here. He doesn't have the university buff either for his units, so they could be better still. But Kasva also doesn't have it, and doesn't have elite upgrades. So you can definitely feel the pressure for both these players a little bit.
Uh-oh, Culverin's now dying there at the front. Keep is falling behind this. And that means Kasva kind of losing the foothold that he had on the area with Kasva at Beastyqt's. Still more raids coming in. Beastyqt sits comfortably at pop 180, while Kasva 150 and still trying to manage his economy at home.
Yeah, Beastie's definitely swung this game entirely around because now he's the one with 130 workers against the 110 of Kasva. Kasva's just... He kind of has... I tend to find he's very much a timing player, so he'll attack you with these very, very crazy timings, as if he's like a Wild West player. But as soon as they don't work, the fundamentals, like you can definitely see that Beastie's just weathered the storm, and now he's come online, and he's doing attacks here, there, and everywhere. He's getting the relics up and running as well. He's just... Now that he's survived... You can really tell that he's in his comfort zone.
Oh, and Kasva wanted to wall off, but didn't wall to the edge of the map. And more land snakes are going through together with men-at-arms, or only men-at-arms. Still not really walled off. It feels like Kasva will have enough to defend, but it felt like he was the pushing player. But the last 3-4 minutes, only beautiful moves for Beastyqt and Kasva, the one who has to react.
Yeah, and like economically, this whole time, like every time I've looked at Kasva, it's been so extreme, lopsided, like inactive villagers or so many on something. But then it's like, oh, okay, a big switch to something else, which hasn't been working out well for him. Whereas I look at Beasty, I guess we'll look at like villager idle time after this game, but for Beasty it feels like it's just lined up a lot nicer, and when he is given a bit of breathing room, he's now getting that elite army tactics upgrade up and running, whereas it's still nowhere to be seen for Kasva, despite him hitting Imperial, you know, a good 4 or 3 minutes earlier than Beasty. But yeah, just solid fundamentals from Beasty this game.
Crazy how good his macro is, and it just really shows, like, Beastyqt, professional RTSler for many years. Kasva was still working as a nurse like 1.5 years ago, and then decided I want to give Age of Empires a try, quit his job to go full-time, and is on the verge of maybe making the big jump. He was really close in a qualifier for $100,000 Age of Empires 2 tournament, lost in the last round there. Maybe better luck this time. Today it feels, at least in this game, the macro in the very late game, a bit better for Beastyqt.
Yeah, just a couple of things not going Kasva's way. Okay, let's kind of click. He does have elite men-at-arms now, which is great. Still, though, his melee, his infantry is going to have 20% less health. This could be a nice grab, though.
Finds 2. And, well, villagers finished the walls. Kasva still with the control in the center. No one really having control over sacred sites. And now, this is the Beastyqt game that I 20% love, 80% hate, full stone walls everywhere, and he will be so incredibly methodical here. I think Kasva, maybe some side attacks could really help him, but it's just tricky. Beastyqt will always get a heads up because he's fully walled now.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite nice. Like as much as I've been seeing Kasva kind of, I don't want to say fall apart because he's still absolutely in this. Like he's had a lot of workers idle a lot of the time. But he's actually the one now at 200 supply. And let's have a little look. Like, Kasva has middle control. That Carrack, by the way, still not dead. That definitely did its job. The Culverin mass from Kasva in the middle as well. That's definitely something you have to respect when it comes to siege wars, especially.
Now going for the keep in the center. Beastyqt trying to get a foothold there of the center. A bit surprising to me. It's a bit ambitious. I don't think you can ever really defend that keep there.
It's definitely going to be a rough one. I mean, Culverin are particularly bad against keeps. Particularly bad. I think they're doing like 40 odd damage per hit or something like that.
That's
but
ridiculous,
yeah,
still a cannonball. It should do some damage, no?
Keeps are meant to be strong, man.
Okay, I will allow it.
We've just got so used to seeing bombards just destroy them that it's like, oh yeah, keeps suck. But all right, okay, Kasva, you got the elite army upgrade, you got the elite infantry stuff. So now he's online, and Beasty, look at this. He's got a little bit of a siege army moving out. He did snipe 2 Culverin before they turned around and shot back.
Now tries to jump on the army here, won the center infantry fight, jumps for the siege again, but it feels like it might just squeeze through the gate again. Maybe one Culverin dying. One mangonel stuck. Kasva can't be too unhappy, but can't follow into the gate.
No, definitely. Yeah, this is turning into a bit of a bloodbath between them, because we can't forget that Kasva's been the one with 3 relics this entire game. And the much faster Imperial. But yeah, they're going for a total split map scenario. And Kasva, look at this on the left side. Bit of a cheeky play. You don't often see these.
Oh, interesting, yeah. Honestly, I've never seen siege towers in a competitive game. But
yeah, but what are they going to do on top here?
Well, maybe enjoy the view and then run into their death.
Mate, I have no idea. I mean, it's definitely one of those things where it's ambitious, right? Like, I'm going to get over here where this keep is and take it down. It's like, probably ain't going to work. Probably ain't going to work.
Maybe something to put on your YouTube thumbnail. Siege Tower actually utilized in a competitive $100,000 tournament game. Then
I'll leave that one to you. I'll leave that one to you, you know?
Okay, well. I need to improve my thumbnail faces. Your thumbnail face game is on point.
Yeah, what can I say? What can I say? You gotta find the right people, you know? You gotta find the right people. Oh, okay. I love this by BC. I just clicked on a few of his barracks. He's lining up a lot of the land snakes now. Or in fact, only 3. But they're going to come out soon. If he starts throwing down a lot more land snakes, these infantry fights can definitely go his way. But Kasva's got a nice army composition here, I feel.
Resource is actually pretty crazy for Beastie. He even has mass amount of bombards in the queue. I don't want to sound crazy, but is a wonder out of the question?
Let's see.
We only need stone, basically.
Yeah, it's still a full stone patch for him. I feel like Kasva mined a lot more stone just because it felt like he put down more keeps and stuff. Maybe more walls as well. I'm not sure about that one. It is Beastie after all. But yeah, he's still got a massive stone patch left.
See, in the center we have still some. One in the base with 950 for Beastyqt. Right now, not a lot of fighting happening.
Okay,
this could be exhausting in the long run.
But this is Beastie's world, man. Like, you know, when you tune into a Beastie stream, you're like, oh, he's been going for 5 hours. I wonder what's happening. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
Every day, 10 hours a day. Like, nobody has practiced this situation more than Beastie. So he is totally fine. And like, I'll be thinking about this if I'm in Beastie's shoes, and I'm like, how do I get out of this? Beastie's thinking, all right, when are you going to fall for it? Like, it's really a totally different take on how to play Age of Empires, and yeah, I'm really impressed that Kasva isn't doing what he could or you could find anybody doing, you know, where you just literally go for it.
Yeah, and maybe throw the game that way because Beastyqt is so prepared. And yeah, that's my approach when I watch streams as well. Like, give you anxiety stream, for example. If the game starts, I don't turn off. Because I know, like, a 4 barrack, 4 archery range all-in is coming. If a game starts in Beastyqt, I know I can tune off now and turn in half an hour later.
Yeah, because that's when the game begins for him, you know? But yeah, definitely an interesting scenario. I do like the fact that Kasva did mine out a lot of this stuff in the middle, because that is the no man's land, technically.
Yeah, really love that. And he still has untouched gold at home. Over 12k gold there in the back, still mining some at the side. So yeah, the neutral one in the center. Absolutely love that approach. Nice awareness, and now he's getting pushed back from that area.
Yeah, where can we see all of Kasva's siege? I see this little raid happening on the left side, but can't really get that much done. There are units in the base for Kasva. He still has that Carrack knocking about, but yeah, he's retreating from the middle. And now Beastie with this slow march across the middle of the map. This is where it starts to get a little bit spicy, because so far, he's the one that's been doing economic damage, but Kasva's not going to give it up without a fight by the looks of it.
We have 2 bombards and 1 mangonel on the field for Kasva. 33 minutes into the game and 3 relics. It does not feel like enough. Even though we had some nerfs on Siege, it still feels like it's a backbone of major Imperial armies.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's very telling that both these guys are going for pretty much the same army compositions. Like, this is exactly what you kind of want to go for in these matchups. I think Kasva's army in general, though, a little bit scarier, just because he's got so many land snakes, you know? Like, these guys, yeah, they really do butcher things up, and Beastie's having to retreat despite having pretty damn decent army.
2 traps in the queue now by Kasva. Not really sure what he's trying to achieve with that. I don't really think he can push through the center. Left-hand side, not really an option. Might have been a misclick, to be honest.
Wait, he's making a treb, did you say?
2!
Yeah, I mean, if he's... Depending on what his hotkey situation is, that would be the same hotkey as, like, land snakes with the barracks. And he's making a lot of those, because, yeah, if I make a trebuchet most of the time, I'm like, damn it, what a mistake, you know?
Oh, feels so bad. In Age of Empires 2, it was like the most majestic unit that you can build. Like, oh boy, he has 3 traps, he can kill everything. And in Age of Empires 4, it's like, oh, probably a misclick.
They're awful. They're awful. All right, this is... I tell you what, Kasva's getting quite a few siege engines, but these land snakes are not cheap whatsoever. I don't know what both of them are going to be aiming for eventually. And these keeps that they both keep plonking up against the amount of bombards that are on the field, they're not going to last long.
Yeah. Absolutely true. And, well, even traps, okay-ish against keeps. If you keep your long distance up, you don't get sniped. Now some elite knights getting some raids in the center here, but so many villagers. Don't think Kasva will care too much. So, how do you get an advantage in this situation if both players are going for the same army composition?
Well, there's one thing I just super noticed here. Beasty's gold, absolutely gone. And I don't think he has another patch available here, which is... at first I was questioning, why on earth are you making spearmen? But then it's like, because you literally can't make anything else. And now, Kasva's got him kind of where he wants him. Like, maybe he had that in mind the whole time. He's like, you know what? I'm going to mine all the gold in the middle. I'm going to have all that gold safe on my side of the map, which we see that he's going to start mining from now after taking everything in the middle. And now he's like, you know what? Now I'm going to slowly siege you down with those trebuchets. So the master plan here for Kasva coming into effect. But those poor trebbies, they got a few tickle shots off, but that's about it.
I'm trying to figure out what the long-term plan could be for Beastyqt. We still saw over 12k gold for Kasva to mine, and Beastyqt now dropping down some markets, but prices not that bad actually to sell wood and food, so I wouldn't mind to see that. And then maybe some trade cards.
Oof.
Okay, villagers running away in time, and now archers being added. Oh, feudal 8 archers. They should not be that crazy, although Landsknecht, obviously, not the craziest pierce armor.
Yeah, so like in BC's head, he had this issue that is, all right, I've got no gold, I've got food and wood, what can I make? And even though the upgrades for spearmen are right there, and he's got all the blacksmith upgrades for his melee, besides one armor's missing, he was like, you know what, they're not as good as what archers will be. But I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with that call. Just because I think archers are super bad in this matchup, but we'll see what happens with him. Because I actually think the spearmen with the 3 armor aren't that bad actually when it comes down to it.
Okay. Well, I don't think that's really the spot where a lot of people are comfortable at or like experienced at. Like going for the game without any gold left on the map anymore. Still remember 3 relics against 2 relics, and still like 15,000 gold to mine here. Absolute madness. Kasva, he has to be loving life. I'm not sure if he realizes how good his position is when it comes to gold.
No, and that's one of Beasty's strengths as well, because Beasty, he'd be doing what he's doing right now, having these wall-ups going. Like, let's have a look at what Kasva sees. Like, Kasva has absolutely no idea what's going on behind this wall, right? Like, he has scouted most of Beasty's base, so maybe he got to see all the resources. And he does know he's ahead in relics, but that's kind of the strength of being a player like BC, where you are passive. Purely because he's going to do this whether he's ahead or behind, and you have no idea about it.
Yeah, actually true. Kind of hiding information, no matter what your situation is there. Kasva now with some more walls. Let me dream again. No. Okay, so many keeps being built over and over by Kasva. I thought about like him now maybe thinking about the wonder.
Yeah, I like the trade that's going on for Beasty, by the way. Like the market, I was kind of looking for it, and I was like, aha, it's in the middle of the map. Because 109 gold per trip, apparently, to these marketplaces, which are set up. I mean, it's going to be income. It's going to take a while for it to kick off, but yeah, it's... if Kasva knew what the situation was, I wonder if he'd just be doing the same thing, because, yeah, this isn't a bad play, what he's doing.
Yeah, certainly. The way my idea to make trade a bit more viable, actually give them half the gold, but make them run twice as fast. So because I think the big problem with trade right now is that it takes so long to pay off. And I think you get incentivized a bit more if you get like your first trip a bit faster.
Yes and no. Like,
I will take the yes.
The only reason it takes so long, Nilly, is because people go for the absolute maximum profit by building it as far away as possible. If you built it a little bit closer, like midway, you'd get what you're asking for. But people, if you offer people a cake, they're not going to take a slice. They're like, oh, the cake's free? It's like, yeah, take as much as you want. And they take the whole freaking cake.
Well, if you offer a cake, I will take the cake. If you offer me a piece, we can
that's
negotiate.
That's what you find right here. No nerf required.
Okay. Yeah, and Grubby in the chat obviously saying, oh no, it's so viable. Yeah, with his like cheating tricks with waypoints, generating more gold and saving trips. We played the honorable way without micro.
This is actually really nice by Kasva though, because we saw that Beasty's one way of really getting back into this economically is by trade. So this becomes the heart of what Beasty's going for here with this market. And yeah, Kasva. In fact, what did his character die earlier? Or I guess so, I don't see it. But yeah, this is going to be a big deal now for Beasty trying to keep this spot alive.
Okay, Kasva lost all his army, and that's obviously gold intense. Now the big question that I think no one really has an answer. How many trade cards are a good number? I think I would not love to see more than 30.
Yeah, I was going to say like a good 20, 25 can be pretty damn good if they're all doing 100 per trip. But honestly, it depends what your current resource situation is, right? Like this archer mass that Beasties amassed, by the way, like they do have the speed upgrade as well still from infantry, which is nice. They're dealing 11 damage per hit. I'm just going to check on the upgrades for Kasva. Okay, he does actually have all the upgrades available as well. So, oh, Kasva, look at this. He's taking the time while this is going on the left. Beasty's like, you know what? I'm securing this market, homie. It's like, wait a minute. I'm going to come and attack you.
Oh yeah. That's a pretty massive army now. Would love to see that backed up maybe by 1-2 ships behind this as well. And that's where we have the Regnus Cathedral from earlier. One keep down already. Could easily find some snipes. Feels like Beastyqt a bit out of position. Now sends all his army over. Lots of mangonels from Beastyqt, but Kasva shouldn't be too scared with his bombards.
No. And yeah, when it comes to siege, I mean, I do like the composition that Kasva has a little bit more, just having a lot of bombards and then some culverin as well. That being said, okay, the 3 culverin from down south here for Beasty, nicely positioned and whatnot, but these archers, they don't really do much, man. They really don't.
Well, they offer some meat shield, while maybe some infantry is dealing with those bombards, but actually not enough. Would love to see Beastyqt actually having 10 scouts or 10 horsemen mixed in there to deal with the bombards, because they were super exposed, but not really punished. Most of them actually get away.
Kasva, like, I don't know what he was going for. Kind of caught with his tail between his legs there. Beasty microed a lot better in this fight, because that was 3 culverin versus 4, and Kasva just kind of A-moved. Didn't really get the snipes off, whereas Beasty knew what he wanted to go for, so Beasty being very decisive there, and Kasva still just trickling in units, which a little bit sloppy on his end.
Yeah, true. Maybe waypoints, maybe he felt like, okay, this is the big push that he can make happen. And now look at that. He threatened the attack through the pass there. Now he goes for the center. And since he has all those walls set up, I think he should find 2 easy keep kills.
Definitely could do. This whole game is very strange. Like, I think even though this game is definitely beneficial for Kasva with the gold situation, given that he's actually got it, it definitely feels like Beasty is taking better fights, which, yeah, I know a lot of people might think, or when you talk about micro, it's like, oh no, they removed animation cancel. I don't know one person that says that, but when it comes down to the micro, the fights, and actually focus firing and stuff, these big fights, micro is so important and knowing what to do and when to go for it, because so far Beasty is targeting better.
Yeah. The patience of this guy is just so crazy. And big question is like the gold count. And archers, you already questioned their existence earlier. I think we had some mangonels in the center. Oh god, this could be some really big shots. Security going for a wild attack, but Kasva not really punishing. He doesn't really see it. And those archers sneaking in.
They certainly are, but it's not as if they are like crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Oh, Those two Culverin just ran to their death as well by the looks of it. Oh, Bombard versus Culverin. What wins? Well, it is going to be a Culverin, thankfully.
Oh man, now they're attacking like at 3 different sides. Becomes really wild, and better macro player most of the time gets the advantage here. Bombard's really exposed at the left-hand side, pushed through the center. Still that weird army composition there on the neutral land. Not really sure, maybe some angle hits here. Those land snakes are with men-at-arms are really ambitious. But no one really finding the Magno shots right now.
No, definitely not. They're both, like, when you play against Beastie, you have to be careful. Oh, look at that. That's a big switch from Beastie. Down at the bottom there. Lots of stables coming alive. And yeah, when he was like, all right, I've got a lot of food and a lot of wood. What am I going to go for? And he was like, archers. And it's like, well, could also just go for some horsemen, you know, which is, yeah, it's going to be nice for him. Did he get the... He even got the cavalry health upgrade on his university earlier as well. That could definitely surprise Kasva.
Now getting the upgrades for his archers that were still missing. That's not the greatest choice. And yeah, as we can see, all the upgrades there. University. Let's maybe look if maybe Kasva had some slip-ups. Nope, not really. And economic upgrades, most of them there as well. Another keep that feels really ambitious. Actually, you don't have army there. That feels like a waste.
Keep?
Yeah. Kasva there?
Yeah, will he be able to get it up? No.
Actually, I think it's better for him if he doesn't get it up and actually cancels.
Yeah, I think so too. Like when you're against bombards from your opponent, like these keeps will not last long. But Kasva does have the bombard advantage here. Does he have the Culverin advantage? Oh, I mean, he's got so much siege maneuvering about. The real thing for here is Beastie. Look at this. So many horsemen all out of nowhere. If they get on top of the siege, especially with that recent buff, they deal a lot of damage.
And I think Beastie at the left-hand side is intentionally over-chopping. Oh, and Kasva's wards won't be there. I think all the horsemen are coming in. Oh boy, DeMusliM. This could be horrible for the economy of Kasva. He obviously needed to expand more towards the bottom. That could be lots of dead villagers.
Yeah, this whole game is wild, man. Like, I still don't know who's going to win. Yeah, this will come down to just one raid dealing a lot of damage or slowing down the opponent. And yeah, those horsemen, they're going for it.
105 villagers before this raid is happening. Bombard actually even shoots, so that means Kasva should know about it. And now the first raids. Oh, this is ugly to deal with, especially if you're HRE and don't have the greatest mobility.
No, definitely. Like all that production on the left side here can get super shut down here for Kasva. He is switching into Spearmen, which will deal with these horsemen real hard, but not until after they get quite a bit of damage done. Beastie's supply is really plummeting though. Like, where's his siege? He's got raids in his base as well. Like here, there, and everywhere. Kasva, that Wild West style we talked about that sometimes looks a bit sloppy. Now it looks super chaotic and cool because Beastie's supply is plummeting. I say that, but he's still above 170.
Yeah, but like the trade is kind of stopped. He is down to 700 gold income. That means like maybe one trip plus his 2 relics. Bombards are pushing forward now. Mangonel bombard composition makes it tough to deal with unless you get enough Culverins. And all those elite horsemen are on the other side. Do we maybe get a nice regroup? Beastie is thinking about it, and I'm not sure if Kasva will have enough protection for a siege.
Oh, like Kasva's definitely in better shape here, like 100%. But it does not mean it's. I was about to say it's not over, but I'm looking at that massive siege flock from Kasva in the bottom there. That's hard to hold, man. And just remember that Beastie can't really produce anything super good against it. Although, if he gets those horsemen on top, they do butcher siege, and oh my god, Kasva's kind of letting it happen.
Oh, that's so many horsemen here. Holy guacamole. 47 horsemen swarming in. And it feels like a cleanup here. Beastyqt, he was down to 50 villagers. That means so much more pop space for army.
Oh, my goodness. That horseman buff, the cavalry buff in general, so good for cavalry against siege. And siege being slower as well. That was a disaster. But this horseman army will sort of get cleaned up a little bit by the looks of it. Because, I mean, they aren't the best in the proper battle against the land snakes and the spearmen and what have you. And Beastie's bank of food It was something like 13k not too long ago, completely plummeted, but Kasva also massively on the back foot here. And what's he actually producing? In fact, he's out of food at this point.
Oh yeah, and only one bombard in the queue. No real food for him. Is getting pushed back in the center there. And now the game is getting wild. Raids at the left-hand side, very likely. Raids through the center area, an option as well if it wasn't for the keep. And still some horsemen in the back as well. This is a messy game to play.
It definitely is. Like, Beasty would love to be able to just go, go, go now, which the only way to go, in fact, I love the fact that he's got that keep on the left side of the map and there's some production that can get camped over there. Because if he can just keep on pushing now with his massive squad of infantry, he's absolutely got a chance here. Absolutely has to. But he has to keep going because Kasva still has a lot of gold to spend. And that's the one thing that Beasty has very little of.
Oh, now trading through the center even. Interesting choice there. So mixes up with both trade posts here. And yeah, the keep at the left-hand side is just lovely. Bombards were sniped as well. And Beastyqt back to 76 villagers. That's a reasonable number with all the resources that he still has in the bank. Doesn't need to put anything onto wood. While he still has 30 on wood. On the other side, 96 villagers, lots of them idle. 78 on food, but still no food in the bank for Kasva.
Yeah, like Kasva. So I just looked at it. He had like 40 idle villagers before that 80 switched to food right there. So definitely a little bit messy, but oh god, that's a lot of spearmen dealing a lot of damage to these horsemen. The thing for Beastie is, like, now he's going, now he's turned up, but he can't make a super complicated army. He has to rely on so many spearmen and horsemen, which, if you just make a lot of land snakes now as Kasva, his army's going to be so much better.
Oh, gaudy. And now some hand cannoneers being mixed in by Beastyqt as well. Kasva tries to go for the big walls, tries to get some control into this game, but Beastyqt has one mission, and that is indeed to make it not a normal game, to make it super wild, to continue raiding Kasva, who is down to 52 military in a spot where we constantly were flirting with 100 military in the field. 105 for Beastyqt.
Yeah, let's have a look-see. So Beastie's still at 85 villagers economically, which is crazy. But Kasva definitely called out here. And was this what we were talking about, where it just took one moment where Beastie just waited for his opponent to make a mistake with all that siege, then capitalized? Like, I think it absolutely is. But Kasva, he's not down and out just yet. He's still on 3 relics. He's just remade a lot of barracks in his main base as well, so he still can produce a lot. But the thing is, what's he going to go for, and how does he go about it?
Whew, big question, certainly. No gold villagers for him, so it's all the 3 relics right now. He still has a 4k gold mine. Maybe doesn't see it on the minimap. It feels so weird, like he has to see it. Like, those 4k gold could be so nice if he ever wanted to get back onto Men-at-Arms, ever wanted to mix in some more siege. Right now, it feels like players are running out of wood, especially because the left-hand side is so contested, and Kasva has to go through the center. Look at that mass migration, 40 villagers in the center on wood, and Beastyqt knows about it.
Did you say both players are running out of wood?
Yeah.
I just looked at Beastie's
at least
bank.
Kasva is.
Yeah, I was about to say, look at Beastie's bank, mate. He's got so much wood here, and he's got more available down this left side as well. He's got wood for days, But yeah, like, he wants to keep on going now. Like, his car is in gear 6, and he has to keep going. Because, yeah, his his gold situation, absolutely dire. His army can't get more technical, and that's why Kasva's buying so much time. Like, he has to buy time to amass an army, because he knows that his opponent's struggling for resources. That's the only reason why you'd have such a uncomplicated army.
Gear 6. That sounds so unfair. My car only has 3 gears.
What?
Yeah.
Well, what?
Well, happens. Maybe Serbian cars are a bit better there. And just the full control. And Pop 200 against Pop 200 still. But it feels like Kasva, on the reacting side, not a lot of real map control for him.
No, definitely not. Like, being able to get a little bit of wood there in the middle is nice for him. That's something. And he 85 villagers on wood. Like, it's so extreme, his bouncing around with the resources. Beastie is trading a lot of stuff. A lot of that wood for gold. So let's see what he's actually producing with it. He's actually getting a lot of men-at-arms. Is he getting some siege units as well? You can bet your ass, because it is Beastie. And he's actually amassed a lot of mangoes in his main base as well.
Ooh, and now look at the army just waiting in front of the door. It feels a bit like the end of Lord of the Rings 3 there, but when I watched the movie, there were no mangonels shredding poor Aragorn away.
I didn't do the nice caster thing and was like, yeah, I just laughed at you. I'm sorry.
I will work on that.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, Kasva absolutely wants to bring the heat. Beastie doing the Beastie thing, though, making a lot of walls, and oh my gosh. That's a lot of mangonel against a lot of the infantry, and by golly, that's a lot of dead red.
Oh yeah, and Mangonel's so good. The Landsknecht kind of needed to go around, and now they're funneling through, but that just means Mangonels become more efficient. For bombers are moving forward. So much raid in the back, and it feels like Kasva running out of options. Pop 200 still for Beastyqt. 140 now. No real food income. Look at that, dropping down to pop 130. So much going down, and Beastyqt made a crazy comeback happen in a spot where I actually counted him out, and I think I'm stupid for that. I agree. Without any gold, a magical comeback.
Really well played by Beastie. Like, actually well played by both of them, because Kasva, they both, you could feel it. They were both trying to really force the opposition to play their game. Kasva wanted the crazy wild play. Beastie wanted the calm, patient play. But they both had to kind of switch it up a little bit. But this game really came down to Kasva just getting a little bit carried away. And I think that Beastie had a lot better engagements overall. Like, a lot better engagements overall. Because there's not many situations where you should win at in that kind of game. But yeah, well played to both of them there. I think Beastie's patience really paid off. And that massive horseman switch with the big surround in the bottom, I think that was really the turning point.
Yeah. And we see that on the timeline as well. So beautiful. He was around like 40 army and suddenly jumps to 130 and then took this crazy fight, like 270 degrees around all that siege. And it just felt it was only men-at-arms when we kind of wanted to have some Landsknecht in there as well and some spearmen to deal with all those horses. But did you really expect Beastyqt to have like 25 horsemen, and after basically having 40 in your own farm eco, clearing them up, and 30 seconds later, another 80 are appearing in the opponent's base? Crazy.
Yeah, it was really cool. By the way, the society statistics page is really good for analyzing a game like this. Like, they both had 146 workers at the highest, but look at that average idle villager. Like, it's way higher there for Kasva. Like, the average villager idle time was 4 minutes. I mean, that's actually insane when you think about it, which just shows you like quite a lot of mismanaged economy there from him this game, which you could really feel as the game was going on that Kasva wasn't that comfortable in the chaos. And sometimes you find that chaotic players, sometimes it can spiral a little bit too chaotic for even them.
Yeah. And it's like chaotic if you have to like make some wild decisions. This was more like chaotic in the sense like we had to macro at 4 different spots, manage like 2 raid angles, raid yourself, micro your bombards, try to rewall 2 different angles, and that's just so tricky. And the decision making of Beastyqt, just lovely.
Yeah, it was really well played by him, very well handled. Because yeah, a lot of players might have found themselves like I don't know, doing something extreme, but Beastie is very much like a cockroach in a lot of these situations. Like, he's going to try and weasel his way out of it no matter how bad it looks, and sometimes it works out, which you saw here. Like, I could have been like, you know what, I'm going to go for one last ditch effort. Beastie's like, what do I need to do? I need to go for the market, I need to get the trade going. This is my point now. If he attacks over here, then I'm going to counter with this, and it's very much the battle plan for him. Like, it continues to go no matter how bad the situation looks, and very often that's kind of it is where he thrives, because that's where his opponent can kind of feel the taste of victory, where he is inclined to make more mistakes, and that's where Beastie's got you where he wants you.
Yeah, it just feels like, but if you have this game just happened to you, where you had the relic advantage, map control advantage, gold advantage, you went for your ideal army composition and still lost the game. Do you feel like you're kind of on a timer every single game now if you're Kasva?
So you're asking me if I was in Kasva's shoes?
Mm-hmm.
I'd have won that game, man. For real. Like I can't believe it. I actually, yeah, the fact that he got the 3 relics, got to be as greedy and gambly as he did.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he's probably feeling now is like, oh damn, like I didn't win that game. Yeah, it's brutal because okay, I have to click observe match. Nice, I did it early. Yeah, he's going to be feeling rough because that absolutely is a game that he should have won. Like, he cut every corner there was available and still didn't win despite being in such good shape. Yeah, brutal. But that's definitely going to be a massive confidence boost for Beasty because he's just showcasing that even though he's playing safe and by the book, he's still able to come out with the victories if the game goes on. Which, yeah, that's great, man. That's great. That's like Usain Bolt running against a just inferior opponent, you know? Like, he's just going to win the race no matter how far the distance every time. And, yeah, well played by Beasty. I've got to quickly go to the restroom, so we're back.
Okay. 2 minutes, 30 seconds to go before we jump into game number 3. Obviously, Kasva home map still. We have him win a game. So right now we are jumping into Ruse Mirror. I don't know the map. I would heavily predict Boulder Bay to be the choice here. Usain Bolt doesn't win in higher distances. It's his story. It's his story. Mongo throat singing theme. Like the AoE4 soundtrack is really growing on me. At the start, like I was like nothing gets better than AoE2 soundtrack, but AoE4 soundtrack actually so diverse as well and has like so much identity. Really starting to like it. Kasva should have stolen the relics. Tricky. Yeah. Then his spot would have been even better. Like not getting back to the 2 relics on the cathedral. It's not easy. Didn't really have the full control there, I believe. He was on the verge of getting there. Hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday. This could be long. Actually, I planned to finish this one in 9 hours. We are 2 games in and close to 2 hours in the show now. And yeah, we are having 3 best of 7s, as you all know, right? The schedule at the side: Kasva, Beastyqt, 2-0 score. Then we have Marine Lord Wham, and at the end we will have the Mister and Vortex to close out the day. If you feel like, wow, isn't it hard that the winner is flying to Berlin, compete for $100,000 tournament, get their hotel, their flights, and everything else paid, and the loser gets nothing? Well, you can work against that a bit. We're trying to raise money, and that is going for the people that are eliminated in the round of 6 and the round of 12. I will keep the donations open over this qualifier and the next qualifier if you feel like we want to compensate them a bit for the great show that they are offering. All awesome serious? Yeah. Remember, everyone that didn't make it this weekend can try again next weekend as well. So not unlikely that we will see people that aren't making it today try again next weekend. As you know, the Muslim, our lovely co-caster here, is already through in the main event for winning Steel Series Prime Cup, the Viper for Genesis. And we are searching for 6 more players. 5th till 13th.
So, Nilly, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
What if I want to donate to the main event prize pool instead?
Depends on how much you want to donate. Send me a message.
Well, I'm just asking because maybe I don't want to donate to these qualifiers, you know? Maybe I want to just go straight to those big boys, you know?
Those big boys.
Also, what happens if somebody makes round of 6 twice? Do they get 2 shares of the round of 6 prize pool?
It's double the pain, right? So I think they deserve double the prize money. So actually, like, how you make the most money out of this tournament is fail in the round of 6, And then in the second qualifier, qualify and win the whole main event. And you make over 30k.
I feel like, yeah, I'm starting to feel that it wasn't a good deal for me just auto qualifying. You know. No. I'm actually so happy that I don't have to play in these. Because yeah, it's brutal, man. It absolutely is. All right, Roos Mirror. Tell me about this one, Nilly.
Oh boy. So Roos obviously considered to be crazy strong on this one, simply because we have our fishing ships that are pretty happy just fishing away and don't need to drop off. Then transitioning into the Loija attack ships, and you can pressure your opponent so heavily, can just basically sail over there, and that's why we have seen the Roos with such a crazy aggression. Remember, also Roos getting quite some gold once they kill the deer. That's why we see the double scout opening. Beastyqt running to the other side, trying to get the second spot. Might be an option, while we see Kasva, I think only with one scout. And he builds the pretty standard dog, Kasva that is, and Beastyqt with a sneaky one. Maybe you could explain that.
Yeah, sure. So this matchup, like I do like Beastie's approach here so far. Like getting the second scout grants you both your deer pack on your side, but you also get to pressure and maybe steal one on the opponent's side, whereas Kasva's been a bit more greedy. Beastie just kind of went up and down his shoreline and was like, hey, where's the close deer or deep sea fish? Because even though Roos do benefit from not having to return, getting your boats out immediately to try and get the fish as fast as possible is so huge and beneficial. But yeah, Beastie getting out the scout early, I prefer that play. Because, yeah, this matchup is one that I admit to not being the best at. I've been trying to learn it recently. You have to be as shameless as possible, especially on Boulder Bay. So one thing we'll probably see is, in fact, I'm seeing neither player play as shameless as I thought they would. You have to get Age 2 ASAP, because very often this matchup will come down to who gets it faster. If there's one person that played a bit more economic, like aiming for a certain stage of the game, as opposed to the other guy, you just instantly lose. So at some point, we'll probably see some heavy, like 10 workers building the Golden Gate. And for me in my brain, I'm just like, this doesn't feel natural, but it's absolutely the way to go about it.
Okay. And yeah, I think fast fuel age makes lots and lots of sense. You obviously get a lot of gold from the bounty system. We're sitting at 165 for Beastyqt. Kasva at the same amount. Remember, there are no wolves on this map, and we have 9 villagers building that golden gate here for Kasva, while Beastyqt only 300 food. Maybe not the greatest income. Maybe ran too far with the dock there. Fuel age timing will be way better for Kasva. And you mentioned that should be a big advantage and maybe a short game, or what?
Yeah. This I don't want to say it's game or anything like that. I don't want to do that thing, but this is huge, and this is one of the reasons why this matchup has kind of eluded me a little bit. Is because in my head I'll be thinking about, oh yeah, I'll hit here and do this and do that. But yeah, for what Kasva's done here, and he does know where the dock is, right? Let me just check what his vision is like. In fact, okay, he does know where the dock is now. And yeah, look at this. He's already sending over boats to do the attacking. And BC's probably like, oh, buddy, this is not the best for me.
Yeah, that's crazy. And fishing ships now transitioning into the attack ships. Now Beastyqt has to run. He's actually playing Kremlin at home. Yeah, you get 20% more wood income, but you can't really use the market, so gold will be more tricky. And now it needs to send villagers on gold. Not your typical approach in this one. I'm really confused by the approach by Beastyqt.
So, I actually... my game's already ended, Nilly. You're probably in a similar boat.
I was keeping the suspense, but yeah, this is indeed a 5-minute, 20-second game. And Beastyqt gives this one up after a very questionable build-up.
So,
This is not a drop. No.
No. So, like, I think he made the wrong landmark, and he realized that. But also, the shamelessness of Kasva was absolutely the winning thing there. Building with, like, 10 workers is optimal, and getting out the attack ships straight away. If you don't keep up, you just lose. I realized at the top right there that we were both on the same time, which was like 30 seconds behind because we didn't do the speed up thing. which is good. But I'm already loading up the next game. Actually, it's got the game
Okay.
time,
Someone
but
wants to see a real game of Age of Empires, apparently.
yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I do think the Lodger attack ship stuff absolutely needs to be altered somehow. Because even though they've done some good stuff to alter it, such as when you're transforming, you get slowed down. Lodger attack ships themselves are so freaking strong. Like, I know some people will be like, they're weak and rush ships suck and stuff, but Lodger attack ships do so much freaking damage. And the fact that they move and shoot and are so cheap, and you can get so many of them so quickly, it's yeah, it just makes the Rust matchups on water so brutal sometimes.
Yeah, and it's so unforgiving as well. I've seen quite a lot of games that felt super short, and sometimes people try something, but they don't have any chance. I also think that's something that no one is talking about because we never see it, but I think water trade ships are the most broken thing we have in this game right now. Like, way, way stronger than Chinese Ming clock tower bombards. Like, it's like they pay off after like 2 trips, you get extra money, and they're unraidable if you won the water. So I think you might think, okay, some fishing ships went down, he maybe loses some water there, he can still come back on land. No chance on this map.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. I mean, water is such a hard thing to balance in general. But yeah, this Roos, it's so hard, man. It's so hard. But yeah, Ringlaw's like, but you can't transform your ship into a trade ship, can you? Then he's like, oh, you can. Yeah, there's definitely some brutal things here, but that is kind of the way that I thought Kasva would win, with just like very, very acute timings, and catching Beastie completely off guard there. But yeah, I think Beastie did accidentally make the wrong landmark there, but yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Maybe he had like the Kremlin placement was right? So I think he like didn't misclick, because this is where you build the Kremlin next to your wood line, and you build your Golden Gate next to your town center. So I think it was not a misclick. Apparently, people are saying that on his stream he said that he misread the map and went into the wrong direction with the villager, and that's why his dock was so misplaced.
All right, then I'd say it's, even though it's apparently intentional, I'd say it's not as good. But yeah, it is rough because on these maps where you have like mirror, and you are looking for a deep sea fish, it's so hard because you had to travel so far to get a deep sea fish location, which yeah. So this is Rust Mirror, where deep sea fish means more and less at the same time. Means less because they don't have to go for the drop off, but it means more because getting that H2 the quickest is so damn important. That I think that eventually, hopefully from devs in general, deep sea fish will be, I don't want to say more laid out, better. Okay, that was the worst English in the world. Just more of them available at like very similar distance. You know what I mean? Because right now that RNG is just so that's not a fun one. That is not a fun bit of RNG, to say the least.
Agreed. Then let's jump into the home map of Beastyqt. It will be Lipany, and we will have the civilization that we consider to be the strongest one in the game by Mr. Kasva in the red trunks. He is playing Mongols. Lovely spot there next to the woodline and the gold. And English for Beastyqt to face that. If we see Mongols win this one in the hands of Kasva, we actually go into a tight set.
Yeah, which would be crazy, man. Like, it really would be. And yeah, for Kasva to win that Roos Mirror game, obviously a big deal, keeps him in it. And that's a big momentum switch as well. Because yeah, then having Mongol against English, it's been fun, the civilizations that both of these guys have been picking and when they've been picking them.
What a wild mountain here at the left-hand side.
Wild mountain.
Look at that massive block of stone here.
Yeah, and I like the wood lines as well. They're like, yes, quite a lot of wood over here, isn't there? In fact, if you look at the layout of wood in general on this map, it is nice that Kasva has so much wood in this bottom left area, and then a massive stone as well for his future Uvu. And also the deer pack behind against English. He's got a very nice setup.
Yeah, gold already close by as well. Barry's not far away. The only thing that I would have loved, like if I can paint an ideal map, is that the over is maybe a bit closer to the starting TC. Like he needs to run quite a bit if he somehow wants to protect it, if he ever gets pressure in that area. But as we mentioned earlier, typically Mongol's the one with the pressure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, English kind of have to pressure. So even though Mongol is like an aggressive civ by nature, English have to pressure. Like they are fundamentally an age 2 civ. I think it's mainly because their age 3 is maybe... I'd go as far as saying English is like the worst age 3 civ right now. Just purely because, like, what do they get? They get their third landmark, even though a second TC is good. It's a very expensive second TC, and a lot of the other age 3 landmarks that are economic come online almost immediately, whereas that one costs you quite a bit to get it online, even though it will come in, but it's more like a drip feed thing, right? But yeah, I am curious what both these players are going to go for here. Beasty, even with English, went for a second scout, by the way. Not entirely sure how I feel about that one.
Like after my coaches told me always go for mass farms, basically always skip the second scout nowadays. Like, what's the difference? If you go like for the early farms anyways, it's no big difference if you're like 6 sheep or 9 sheep, I feel.
So my understanding with English, and my English isn't bad. For me,
oh, native speaker. Oh no, that's not what.
well,
Okay.
you know. Okay. But given that English is going to be aggressive, it's that that whole the best defense is a good offense. So I feel you can get a lot of your surroundings very easily. Like you can get the deer packs if you wish. Your wood line's going to go uncontested. Your gold's going to go untested. So you can just be as greedy and aggressive as possible, and that'll be your defense, because your opponent has to defend against you, and we already see that from Kasva here with the forward tower by the Uvu. So yeah, the second scout for me, I'm just like, all right, that gets you more sheep, but is that necessary? And in my head, it's absolutely not. But yeah, BC does tend to like it, and I guess it does save you resources on having to build a mill late or earlier than needs be. But yeah, different strokes for different folks.
Okay. Well, Khan will find a kill against the sheep there. The outpost will go up. And we don't see the stable or barracks yet. It will have to be an archer range play by Kasva. So trying to fight fire with kind of weaker fire.
Yeah, it's like Mongol's definitely one of the more versatile civs. And going up against English, I remember a while ago, I was like, you know what, I actually don't mind this for English too much. And we've seen some pretty wild takes on this. Like the Mister going up against Aigers. You saw that match, right? Or
I think I saw some of it.
all right, so Mister had a really funny approach. So he went double stable as an opening, which went mass horseman, took out the Uvu, and then it was like, you know, he was in great shape, absolutely great shape. But I am curious about how this game's going to go, because we already see Beasty. Look at this forward tower that he has on this hill. Great location for it. Totally unbeknownst to Kasva over here. And Kasva does see this little villager over here, and he's probably like, oh, what's he doing over there, I wonder?
Oh, and what is he doing? Now it is a stable by Kasva. Wow, that's so weird. It's like such a late timing with lots of floating wood still. Just takes so long for him to get army on the field. This will be full map control for Beasty.
Yeah, like his gold income's not there at all either, which whenever he goes for his gold, by the way, he keeps putting his workers behind the gold line on the other side, which is unfortunate because then they take longer to get back because he really wants to get some arrow slits rolling. And we see that Beasty, look how aggressive that tower is behind that wood line. Like this, yeah, this is going to be a bit of a spicy one already.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. For now, no barracks, if I saw that one correctly, right? So technically, mass horsemen could do something. Also switch onto stone, so arrow slits feels very likely. Double scouts. Beastyqt knows about the stable, even double stable now. But Kasva goes for the Dark Age horsemen, the early horsemen first. Not upgrading to the normal ones.
So a lot is on the line here, right? Like that's something that we cannot deny. I think this is a game where nerves are getting the better of Kasva by quite a lot here. Like having to immediately put up 2 pastures here, and he's still got a massive excess of wood. Loses the Khan as well.
Oh, God.
This is one of those situations where I can't help but feel that Beastie is just more seasoned to this kind of situation.
Yeah, just imagine, like, the min cash of the N4C main event would be more than his whole tournament winnings of all time for Kasva. So this is, like, arguably the biggest match he's ever played.
Yeah, and this is a horrible situation for him to already be in. Like, what? In fact, let's have a look at just his vision. He still doesn't know about this outpost on the left side that's got, you know, barracks up and running and stuff. Like, it's a crazy, crazy good situation for Beastie. Much to the credit of Beastie from playing so well and being so sneaky about this. But, yeah, Kasva's situation, it's not good, man, at all.
Ugly, ugly. And yeah, you mentioned double pasture, triple pasture now. So maybe the double scouts that I questioned earlier actually paid off really nicely because Kasva now low on wood. Scout just playing with those horsemen. And I think once you get like 3 spearmen out, it will get really tricky to muscle up the numbers of horsemen to deal with that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Like, spearmen are so damn good. And these arrow slits that Beastie's adding on here too, they are real damn strong, man. Like, every time you fight into this, if you're just running at it for the sake of running at it, you're just taking damage unnecessarily every time, which is very, very unfortunate.
Wait, not really sure what the villagers are up to here. Kasva goes for the other woodline, but that's so far away from his home base. Oh, no. Oh, no. That just offers a great target for a raid.
Yeah, what timer are you at, by the way? I'm at 8:35.
Yep, same.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Alrighty, so let's have a look. Yeah, every time I'm looking at Kasva, I'm like, he's not doing anything with his workers a lot of the time, which BC's just been online the whole game, man. The whole game, and you can really feel this paying off. It definitely feels like a lot of decisions that Kasva makes are very much on the fly. Which, yeah, they're like Beastie is planned out and very, very by the book.
Well, by the book of English, right? You build longbow. Oh, opponent builds horseman. I had spearmen. But yeah, certainly I love the tower aggression here, all the map control, and just feels like the very linear gameplay of English. Not really dealt with. It just felt like the production facilities flew in so late for Kasva.
Yeah, just mismanaged economy, honestly. Mismanaged. And I think Kasva is a good player, but this series definitely highlighted what I felt are some of his weaknesses. That he loves being the aggressor, but as soon as he's not able to do that, and he's the one under pressure, that's where he kind of falls apart a bit.
Yeah. Probably. Trying to have those horsemen around now to intercept some reinforcement. Beastyqt, really patient, keeps all his longwomen at home, builds up his spearman count quite nice as well, and just continues with this tower rush. And now the berries are under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and I mean, this again is super dire for Kasva. Like, we look at the supplies, and Mongol is meant to be behind, but he is getting very behind at this point, and when Beastie finds out about that right outpost as well, which I think he knows about. Let's have a look-see. He does know about it. Like that's another spot where he can be aggressive, but denying all this food over here on this side, oh, brutal.
Oh yeah, has to love that. And like, how do you deal with that? Like, the tower kind of needs to be into another direction. At least got arrow slits on that one, but now sees the berries at the top, and you can just constantly move in and out. I would love to see some campfires.
And Kasva, he's trying to do some counter damage here with his horsemen, which they are dealing damage, but they're also taking way too much damage. And Yeah, he just fought against 20 villagers in a town centre, along with a bunch of longbow men there back at home, and he's down to 3 horsemen. That is uber bad for him.
Yeah, just leaves a trail of death. Now the Khan could go down for a second time, and fuel aid should never happen. And, well, actually focusing on the horsemen here. Now Khan dies as well, while we still have the raid, and it's looking worse and worse for Kasva here.
Certainly is. He just, yeah, it's a rough one, man. Like this really came down to a lot of missed macro. He went up to like 500 wood when he's getting pushed by the English, and against the English, one thing that you absolutely need to do is to have a very good build or a very good idea that like this is going to come, but it looked like this is the first time we're seeing it, and Kasva just got caught with his pants down, which is not the case. We know that English is going to go for this, but Kasva's build was just not clean, and GG. That's it.
I thought game number 3 was underwhelming, but this game makes me even more sad, I have to say. This is like, because game number 3, okay, something funky happened, and okay, let's just move on. But this one felt like Kasva felt so clueless in this game. And that's so weird, because he's clearly like a top 20, top 30 players in the world, on the verge of like having a breakthrough performance. And yeah, hopefully he can shake off this game and get into a better position to maybe start the comeback next.
Yeah, definitely. Like, if there's one nice thing for Kasva, I mean, this is a real silver lining kind of moment, but he can absolutely look at some of the reasons why he lost some of these games. And a lot of it is just, you talked about you really liking the heavy switches and resources and stuff. But this is something that
with
was...
HRE, I said.
Okay. But this was something that really bit him in the butt. It was very extreme switches. The game plan idea wasn't set in stone, and I felt that the chaos of the build situation and what he wanted to go for was all very... Because we can't forget that HRE game, if he actually had his spearmen on that first counterattack, even though it was a long time ago, if they were all elite spearmen, for example, with the elite army upgrade when he just took out all the knights, he wins the game, like 100%. But so a lot of these situations were just like, Kasva, you are not bad by any means, but sometimes you have to reel in that craziness, because having an idea of what you want to get to, like a spot B, a goal, it helps a lot, especially for when you get taken off course a little bit, because then you can get back on course and realize what you were going for in the first place, because sometimes he will just get lost in a whirlwind somewhere and end up in frickin' Oz.
Well, still the option to win 3 games in a row. Right now, Beastyqt looks mighty strong, though. And we are going for Mongolian Heights, the last home map of Kasva. And it will be English for Kasva. Very likely that we will see some longbow contest there. And the civilization that you already mentioned feels very strong on Mongolian Heights, because they performed well on water, but mainly against Mongols. So big question mark there. Delhi.
Yeah, definitely an interesting one. I have to go, by the way, Nilly.
Yeah, you already said that, yeah.
It was a pleasure.
Pleasure was all mine.
Good luck. Hope you guys enjoy the games.
Give some love for Mr. DeMusliM. He said he only had time for 2 hours. I still felt like the people will love him, and wanted to have him here. Have a great one. Talk to you soon. Was a really informative cast with you. Thank you.
Take care. It was a pleasure.
Okie dokie. Then I will solo cast the rest of the set. Set number 2 will be together with Aussie Drongo, and set number 3 with Dave after that. I hope you're enjoying the show regardless. Could still be 3 games, could be 1 game. We will see. Less than 2 minutes to go into Mongolian Heights. And Beastyqt looking good in this one. And yeah, I absolutely love DeMusliM in so many ways. And I think he's a great addition. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see him play in the N4C main event and cast as well. As you all know, the structure in that event is a lot like we have a lot of play-by-play casters, such as myself being kind of thrown in there. We also have Dave and Drongo, so a lot of casters will mix in there, and I would even love to see some like full brain power cycle cast if we want to go for something like the Muslim and Grubby together and the deep strategy analysis there. Yeah, really excited to have that happen. As you know, 5th till 13th of March. Beastyqt still leading 3-1. Kasva's next home map to come. Get Grubby co-cast this one, preview of main event. I will ask Grubby for the next weekend. And maybe we can work something out. I will see about that one right now. Like it's so weird to ask someone like on stream and such. We will see. Something might happen, something might not happen. Do you know Home Story Cup from StarCraft 2? Yeah, I know. I met Take. Yeah. It's so cool that pros just get on the couch and casting. Yeah, we will have something similar there, yeah. Need a professional record against Kasva last year, 2-0 in matches, and he never lost a professional match against Beastyqt. Why not take that spot yourself, Neely? Maybe I should. Love to see Viper cast one next weekend too. Yeah, he already said that he will focus on training. How much do the casters get paid? You can ask them if they want to share it. I also might disclose all my finances after the event. I will have to talk to sponsors though, because obviously I'm not sure like all of them want that disclosed. I already mentioned multiple times that the budget is way over. Like last time I mentioned, I think the budget was $215,000 for everything in total, and right now I'm 60,000 short. So let's hope that the next Raid Shadow Legends streams are throwing a lot of money towards my way. Nearly paying me banana pizza? That would be something. Are you happy about the state of the game for N4C? Would love to have it better, obviously. But let's focus on this game and try to analyze what's happening. So Beastyqt playing Delhi. As you all know, Delhi fishing ships can shoot because they have archers basically on their ships. Therefore, some early control is guaranteed. But English can go for longbow and they heavily outrange those. Raid stream, let's see. It's more of a symbol for the future. Let's just see. So Beastyqt leading 3-1 here. We see the early forestry upgrade and 5 on wood, not unlike that we will see 6 and then go a bit more onto food. Food income will happen here as well with his fishing ships. And, well, it will be very interesting to see how Kasva is going to control this. And Beastyqt, he knows that this matchup feels very likely. He knows that water pressure will come his way. And the big question mark is how he wants to deal with that. Sometimes I've seen people just play, okay, I got the fish. Now I'll go up the water and we'll just play a relatively normal Arabia game against you. In the sense that we see one stable, one archer range, and go for horseman archer composition. And maybe just some small water control. And if you get to Castle Age and still have the water control, then obviously some reasonable bigger ships can join the party. But before that, it feels like Longbowman just too dominant. Vortex and Mister will be the closest matchup. Oh, yeah, that's the matchup that will close out the day later on. Obviously, after the set, we will have the banger of Wham and Marine Lord. Marine Lord? Considered to be the strongest player in the world, but oh boy, did I become a Wham fan yesterday. Just so many great games by him and the approaches. That Arabia game. So nice against Magic there. Map siege much in favor of Kasva. Shorter distance to the river I can see. Yeah. I agree in that sense. And let's see, villager now coming over. Probably trying to wall over here. Not wall, build a tower. And then the longbowman won't be doing too much. Okay, builds it over there. Not directly next to the shorefish. Is Wham really new or does he have a professional background? I don't even know. I don't even know. Kasva is already dead, to be honest. Okay, thanks for your feedback. He's nearly from Italy. He has a slight Italian accent. Yesterday I ate 3 pizzas. Maybe that did something. Wham is from AoE 2? Interesting. Okay, today I learned. Kind of interesting that I cast Age of Empires tournaments for 15 years. I've been playing for 22 years. And I've never heard of him. But if you say so, then he will be from AoE 2. Ah, the burden and the beauty for everyone having the power to type something on the internet. Now collecting the final 100 gold. Beastyqt could technically go up, only waiting for the last food. Mosque is flying in heavily on wood here. 11 villagers on wood now. Not really producing too many more fishing ships. Also, the question is, are we going onto stone to allow ourselves arrow slits? Could be a good one. Played 1 match of AoE 2, did you know that? Yeah, I cast it. Triple longbow production now. Not on gold anymore. So this will be full longbowman play, but it outpost itself won't really be enough. So Scout needs to get in there to start shooting. Wouldn't be surprised to see some villagers on stone at some point. Beastyqt. Castle Age or Feudal Age timing. Relatively slow. I think 11 on wood feels a bit too much here for my taste. Maybe skip 1 fishing ship there. Could have been an option. And allow yourself a fast uptime. Is this? Nah, this can't be a fast castle play, right? He is so late. I'm really shocked. Still not cancelling villagers. Now tries to go over here. Might deny that tower for now. But Longbowman with the range advantage obviously looking really hot here. Yeah, after the set ends, we will try to jump into the next set directly. Obviously, they will draft some. But it's not like we will wait till the roughly estimated starting time. We will try to have set after set. Now fishing ships trying to scare those longbows away again. Villager here takes some hits, but should get microed away. Kasva on point. And looks good, looks good. Already killed some fishing ships. I really like the opening here. Well, we see. Now 10 villagers building the Dome of Faith. And then probably a stable behind this. Could feel really reasonable. And tower goes up. Beastyqt still not on stone. Oh, now 2 villagers on stone. Still didn't collect any stone. Arrow slits his next approach. Still eco advantage there, but now pushed away from gold. 1 villager dead. Likely to see a second one down. Indeed. Time is visible in top right. Oh yeah, thank you. Could have spoiled something if the game was done already, but as you all know, we're on a 5-minute delay to keep the integrity of the game intact, or at least as close as possible. Okay, fishing ship count is still reasonable, absolutely reasonable. We have 8 fishing ships here, as you can see, 30 economy against 22 of Kasva. Still not on gold, so full longbowman production will continue. Now the barracks at the front, and more fish could die. Now sniping those down. We'll find a second kill quite easily. Still 40 food in their hand. And I think there was no drop-off. Now finding this first stable working. I think maybe even going for more could have been an option. Resources absolutely at the limit. Pretty solid macro in that regard. Generation not that crazy good for the Muslim with all that gold and stone at the front. So Longbowman able to pressure quite a bit. Kasva looking pretty strong with all this aggression. I'd love to see some more games in this one. More faith now going for more dollars. Yet he was on gold still, but can't really get to those. Gold in the back, not taken either. And now more fishing ships could be going down, disappearing there for a small second. And the rest is getting sniped. Now the first horsemen are coming over. I would be surprised if we have any upgrades on those though. And therefore should get sniped down. Spearmen not really there. And I think 4 horsemen will be enough. 3 still alive. And that's a nice clear up. And even after losing all those fish, as I said, Beastyqt, he knows, okay, now we just go into a normal game. And then Delhi against English in the long game after the first army got cleared up. They can't be too unhappy with that. 5 fishing ships still alive. Now goes for more. And Kasva, no dock from him. Think he could be floating quite some wood. I'm a bit surprised. Look at that! 400 wood in the bank. Could have easily gone for the dock placement here, but not going to happen, at least for now. On the attempt of the rewall for Beastyqt. Goes for more fishing ships, and now walls. The left-hand side, right-hand side already walled. And that will be quite some nice control for him. Simply not having any spearmen there. Where's the spearman production? Only one around. 2 scouts trying to help out as well. Longbowman going away. TC was ready to shoot, but the horseman out of range. So nice move there. One horseman still falls behind that one. More spearmen coming around. Really, and the tournament deserves way more than 6k viewers. Well, it is set number 1 in the first qualifier. We will get there once the main event is starting, my friends. Don't look at viewer numbers. Enjoy right now, and if you feel like, oh god, this is a great show, and the main event is going to be even better, because trust me, we have a lot of stuff planned there. Like observing tools will be better. We will actually have like anxiety or like stress level and pulse of the players, player cams, instant replays, yada yada, you will name it. And if you think, okay, that could be great, maybe tell some of your friends. And just say, like, there's an event going on, 5th till 13th of March. And Age of Empires will look better than ever. Age of Empires 4, at least. Maybe you tell them and watch with them together. Make sure to open 2 Twitch accounts. Not watch with 1 Twitch account. Thank you. I don't have friends? Well, then just put a billboard up. Go to your closest university and put a billboard up. Watch Nearly AoE 5th till 13th of March. Much appreciated. Double archery range now by Beastyqt. After Horseman raid was kind of stopped because all the army was at home. Beastyqt expecting that the next attack might be around the corner. Still that tower with arrow slits defending that one so nicely. Food income. Look at that! Kasva, barely any food income really. Only some farmers here, not really on the berries. Now goes for the sheep here. And Beastyqt sits at 550, mainly due to the fishing ships. Now gets some gold control here as well with the sacred sites. That's just so sweet for him. Goes for Palisade Gate. Ooh, maybe anticipated by Kasva. Maybe just wanted to break through their normal way. And we'll get some aggression out. But as we already saw, archer counts won't be too bad. 8. Stopped at 1.2k HP. Fish not being stopped to produce on Beastyqt's side. And Kasva, he doesn't really have options right now. It's a bit bad for him. He could get overwhelmed. He doesn't know what Beastyqt is going for. Could be an approach toward Castle Age. Could be an approach towards Feudal Age. Actually, it is going to be more Feudal Age army, as we can see. Goes for more archers and some more ships, more horsemen. Lots and lots of more upgrades from the mosque. Makes lots of sense. And then we have a Dao. Okay, could maybe join the party as well. Remember, now 10 damage output instead of 8 due to the last patch. 70 population against 60. Now the first ram. Ooh, so Kasva is expecting Beastyqt to cut some corners and tries to go for some punishment. Now the Dao around. Should probably die against the tower, though. That was a bit of an overextension. But the moment you still survive with low HP, you're basically full HP after some healing next to the dock. 500 HP. So, healing rate pretty solid there. Palisade Gate is broken. And let's take a look at production again. Full spearmen. No way! That's something that cries for second barracks. That's a long, long queue. And on the other side, spearman, horseman mix now takes the army. We have the Dao helping out at the sides. Longbowman focusing on that one. Dao microing back, 15 HP, but still falls. Fishing ships not being pulled. And Kasva can't really push. Now pulls some villagers. Maybe some more forward towers here to control this area a bit better could be an option. Now another tower. Dao is coming around. Archer count not that crazy though. First ram falls. Horseman count really solid. Beastyqt sits at 18 horsemen, 14 archers. Now they're coming in, and upgrades. We can give you an update pretty soon after this. Here's a disengagement from either player, but it feels like both still testing the water. We have the armor upgrade against the longbowman, and now working on attack for the archers. The other two upgrades queued in. On the other side, Kasva, attack for his archers, nothing else. Kasva, as you can see with the resources, still deep in feudal age. Queues up way more units, now goes for some healing. Another ram being built. And we have still no wheelbarrow, only one villager on gold. Kasva will play this one kind of feudal age all-inish. And Beastyqt not underproducing at all. Still, more archers, another Dao, goes for herbal medicine. And remember, still a sacred site, so gold is ticking in. Still fishing ships. Food is ticking in. 10 fishing ships still. And 2 Daos here, so if the attack is coming over here, will become more and more tricky. Outpost now should die. And that means Longbowman could probably deal with all those fishing ships. Maybe some outpost, some longbow raid from this area could have been a better angle earlier. Now Daos are dying. That will be rough for the economy, but Beastyqt still has to be happy. He knows he can't be behind in villagers. Sits at 52 workers against 42 with 10 fishing ships, I believe, right? 9. So he's even 1 villager ahead. Thus should have all the eco upgrades. So better resource income certainly for Beastyqt. Only wood for Kasva because he's so heavily on wood. Wants to afford those rams. 1 ram out now, goes for the next one. Another Dao. Horsemen, archers now. Ooh, this could be a big fight. Military count, 41 for Kasva. We see 73 military for Beastyqt. That's obviously 9 fishing ships that you have to discount, but still massive numbers here, above 60. And horsemen will easily deal with the villagers, will easily deal with the ram. Now the push in here. Double tower. Let's see how much that will really matter. And we see Beastyqt. Retreating for now. No, it's okay. I have a really nice setup. And look at that. Now flirting with Castle Age here. Ooh. If he gets Castle Age, it kind of has to trigger Kasva to make a big attack happen. Dude, he just chills it out. Knows that his opponent invested so much into rams. Or he lost some. Knows that the opponent can't have a great setup. Or even the horseman going for some random raid. Interesting. Maybe hopes to find some villagers on some berries or something. Beastyqt now on the way to Castle Age. Goes for the compound on defender. Wants to build some stone walls with this infantry. Maybe some towers on there. So therefore I would love to see some more villagers on stone. Okay, already 2. Something I can live with. Now pulled extra villagers. 16 on this landmark now. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And he adds 4 more barracks behind this one. Actually makes it 5 in total. So actually he didn't have any before. So just 5 barracks. So full man-at-arm play here. And on the other side we see still distracted with the fishing ships. Still distracted with the Daos here. Kasva won't really get the aggression in. While he sits at 20 food. Still deep in feudal age. Oh, this is so bad for Kasva. Oh, yo. He kind of needs to make something happen ASAP. But how? The moment we have like 10 man-at-arms out, which are really easy to get to if you're Beastyqt, there's nothing you can do in feudal. Perhaps some more of those Daos that are now moving in. Horsemen are moving forward. Actually tries to attack with this one. I think just stalling this one out could have been an option as well. Sends in his men-at-arms here potentially as well. And men-at-arm count is not that high. Daos still alive. And this could be a big fight. This could maybe be the last fight of qualifier number 1 for Kasva. Not looking too pretty. Completely outnumbered. Horsemen are getting a reasonable connection. I thought so against the longbowman. But actually now need to retreat. Oh, actually this is the perfect fight for Kasva so far. But it just feels like he's outnumbered so heavily. that now after the spearmen are dying, horsemen are getting there, and even if you trade off all this army, the men-at-arms should be coming in pretty soon, and it just feels like no chance in the world for Kasva to hold this one. Beastyqt is going to compete in N4C main event, $100,000 on the line. He has to be extremely happy with that one. Incredible play, one game to forget on Boulder Bay, and the rest looked flawless by him. 4-1 victory against Kasva. Remember, this could have been the bracket of Hera as well, but Beastyqt showed up and delivered, is going through, and I'm super happy to have him in Berlin, 5th till 13th of March. G to the G. Crazy good performance in so many of his games. Whew. Unit count, just so much better as well. Villager, obviously pretty similar, but we had the dip in fishing ships. And military count, as you saw, Beastyqt. Wait, overlay, give me military count. Just got the production